Chapter 223. Pure Yuan pills refined from the Earth Realm's spirit water are different in quality and price. It's the same for other pills. It's a precious resource to the devil path, monster race, and humans. For tens of thousands of years, the three powers have been fighting over the Earth Realm's spirit water. Green Feather King continued, the Earth Realm's spirit water isn't available all the time. In the endless abyss where the Earth Realm's spirit water grows, there's usually no Earth Realm's spirit water. But once a Earth Realm's spirit water appears, it will form. So every time a Earth Realm's spirit water appears, many cultivators will come to fight for it. Many of them aren't here for the Earth Realm's spirit water, because ordinary people don't have the ability to obtain a Earth Realm's spirit water. They're all here to take advantage of the moment the Earth Realm's spirit water appears. It has another important use, which is to nurture Earth Realm's spirit water. I didn't expect that other than the Earth Realm's spirit water to be so important. Green Feather King continued, if you can't obtain the Earth Realm's spirit water, it's also not bad. Every time the Earth Realm's spirit water appears, there's a lot of them. Many cultivators have a chance to obtain some. Su Fong calmly thought about it. Green Feather King's words made sense. They didn't necessarily have to obtain the Earth Realm's spirit water. Why? The Earth Realm's spirit water was a precious treasure. It seemed that the immortal Sealing sect had sent their disciples to fight for it, but who knew how many longevity realms had come? Perhaps the immortal Sealing sect had also sent their undying or undead realms. As for their longevity realm disciples, they were just here to temper themselves. Who knew if one of their disciples would be lucky enough to get hit in the head by a Earth Realm's spirit water? Since countless experts wanted to obtain the Earth Realm's spirit water, what chance did a longevity realm like him have? Even if there was a slight chance, he would fight until his head bled, and he would pay an astonishing price. He might as well spend some time fighting for the Earth Realm's spirit water. No matter what, Su Fong wouldn't give up on the Earth Realm's spirit water. He had to try his best to obtain these two treasures. Su Fong stared at the Devil Path expert. Other than these two goals, there's nothing else. The demonic Dao expert answered truthfully, we were also ordered to gather some ancient demonic Dao seniors who were resurrected due to the changes in heaven and earth in the Crimson Firmament continent and have them join the demonic Dao sect. At the same time, we will search for some ancient sealed magic treasures. If we can't do it in the Crimson Firmament continent, we will leave the Zhuotian realm and go to other small worlds to look for the Great Devil. I don't know what the upper echelons are planning. In any case, the stronger the Devil King continent is, the more likely they will be able to unify the Zhuotian world in the future. Also, in the Heavenly Gourd world, in order to fight for the Spirit Gourd and resources, some great devils have fallen or been sealed. Their treasures have been left behind here. Very good, very good. From now on, you will be my servant. This magic treasure is a supreme treasure of the Devil Path. If you cultivate here, your strength will quickly transform. After finding out everything, Su Fong left the true Devil Blood Plate. Green Feather King suddenly said, I just thought of something. The true Devil Blood Plate has a blood cauldron. It should have the blood of a true devil that can transform a true devil into a true devil. Why don't you use the blood of a true devil to nurture a Devil Path slave? That way, you'll have a group of powerful true devil servants in the future. Nurture a group of true devil servants. What a joke. True devils were the strongest Devil Path cultivators in the mortal world. They had the highest status, just like true Devil Bora. If he had such a group of powerful servants, wouldn't he be comparable to any major power? Green Feather King's words had indeed given Su Fong an indescribable shock. Resources. He had the blood of a true devil. He also had the true Devil Blood Plate, which could allow Devil Path cultivators to fuse with the blood of a true devil. Furthermore, he cultivated the Heavenly Demon Book and could use the true Devil Blood Plate. Wouldn't everything be logical? If I want to nurture a true devil servant, then I'll have to suppress a great devil. Forget about the imperishable realm, but the blood of a true devil is so precious. I have to suppress a great devil. This king knows the locations of 2 devil path experts who died in the heaven-gored world. Perhaps you'll really run into a devil path powerhouse like this king who was affected by the changes in the world. They're currently recovering their strength in a certain space, just like true devil Bora. They're at their weakest right now. Little brat, you talk big. I like it. Just suppress those great devils and make them your true devil servant. Let's go to the spirit gourd first. Su Fang sucked the formation and the fire god elephant into his palm and flew into the air. In front of him was either an underground forest or a huge underground cave. It looked like a tomb. After passing through several caves, he sensed quite a few cultivators searching for treasures. Some of them were even geniuses from major powers. But as he was passing through an underground forest, the medallion at his waist suddenly flickered with a faint xian guang. It's a gathering order for disciples of the same sect. Strange, could it be that someone from the same sect is in trouble and needs the sect's help? There was an imprint on the medallion. When he activated it, he learned that it was a gathering imprint from a certain disciple. He was a disciple sent by Yen Kaifeng. No one else from the Dao sect had come to the heaven-gored world. The other 6 Dao sects should have sent disciples, but when they were on missions, they rarely contacted each other unless they knew each other. Wanting to see what was going on, he passed through the underground forest and carefully flew over several mountain ranges. He slowly entered an underground cavern. There was a forest in that cavern. Furthermore, there was an underground swamp. Everyone, we can work together to find the spirit gourds and obtain the earth-gourd world's spirit water. We can ask the sect for rewards. Su Fang didn't go too deep into the swamp forest. What if there was a trap? Using his full power, he heard someone speak. It was most likely a disciple of the celestial sealing sect. Let's wait a bit longer. Perhaps someone else will join us. We're all on a mission. There shouldn't be many people coming. It's already good enough that we can work together. The devil path experts I met before were all at the imperishable realm. How are we supposed to get the spirit gourds? When we came here, the sect didn't mention any imperishable realm devil path expert. Listening carefully, he heard 6 or 7 people. They were all disciples of the celestial sealing sect. They were about a kilometer away from each other. What cooperation? We're just making use of each other. He had thought that someone had come to ask for help. If that was the case, he might have helped them. But these people were here to talk about cooperation. Who would want to work together in such a place? In this world, it wasn't just outsiders who were unreliable. Even friends and brothers were hard to trust. Even family members would do some unexpected things. Brother Yen, is that longevity disciple called Fang Yu worth your trouble to deal with? Just as he was about to leave, he heard a faint voice from the other side. Then a familiar voice rang out. You don't know, but that Fang Yu attacked 2 of my Yen family's disciples. As the strongest expert in my family, how could I not get justice for them? It wasn't easy to get information from Ice Moon Grotto's higher-ups that he was on a mission. We can't let him go. But our mission is to get the spiritual gourd. What chance do we have? We're brothers, not outsiders. To tell you the truth, Senior Apprentice Brother Hua told me that the immortal disciples of the immortal heaven are the main force for the spirit gourd. The immortal and immortal disciples are just here to gain experience. Brother Yen, is that true? With my relationship with Senior Apprentice Brother Hua Daoying, he wouldn't lie to me. He just wants me to be careful. Don't be so stupid as to think that I can get the spiritual gourd. It's not worth it even if I lose my life. Not only are there sect experts, but there are also devil path and devil path experts. We're about to reach the imperishable realm, so don't die here. If we become disciples of the celestial touching heaven, we'll live a carefree life. That's true. I'll help Brother Yen kill that disciple called Fang Yu, but he didn't show up. Is he an immortal level cultivator? According to common sense, immortal level cultivators need to be protected by undying disciples. Could it be that Fu Tianshen is here for the spiritual gourd too? Heavenly God Fu, you reminded me. Let's go. He's not coming. Following the last sentence, the two empty voices completely disappeared into the wet wetland. Su Fang also flew out of the cave. He felt like he couldn't breathe. Turning back, he said, Yen Changluo, you really are like a ghost that won't leave. You want to get rid of me, but I have an undead realm slave. Killing you is as easy as flipping my hand. Even if 35 slaves attacked, you still wouldn't be able to escape. The Heaven Gourd was becoming more and more dangerous. As expected, the Celestial Sealing Sect hadn't just sent a few disciples to get the spiritual gourd. Even their genius disciples had come secretly. Since Yen Changluo had come, perhaps Hua Daoying had come as well. King Greenfeather said disdainfully, "Who cares about the Celestial Sealing Sect? You're right. Eat it, it's yours. Hurry up and find the treasures. Let's go to the place where the two Devil Path experts died." Swish. Stepping on his flying sword, Su Fang flew toward the depths of the Heaven Gourd. As King Greenfeather had said, the Heaven Gourd wasn't just a dangerous place. It was a huge underground world. Countless experts had fought here for treasures, but none of them had managed to destroy it. The power of nature was truly uncanny. Human cultivators were still insignificant in front of it. The Heaven Gourd didn't just have volcanoes, forests, and swamps. There were also many strange spaces, caves, and underground rivers. About half a day later, Su Fang appeared in front of a majestic river. If there were underground rivers, they would flow slowly. But this one was completely different. It was like a beast was roaring underground. After flying along the river for another kilometer, the river suddenly formed a drop and turned into a huge waterfall. The sound of the water crashing down was loud. Greenfeather King's interest was piqued. Below this river, there's a huge pool 100 meters below. A Devil Path expert died, and there are terrifying leeches in that pool. They look like demons, but they aren't demons, and they're huge. They look like water lizards, and their offensive power is astonishing. They also live in groups. When cultivators enter that underwater world, they are bound by the shackles of nature. Their strength and divine abilities are greatly restricted. It's difficult to deal with the leeches for a long time. That's why in the years that I know of, there are countless imperishable realm experts who couldn't reach the bottom of the pool to find the corpse of the Devil Path expert. Su Fang was a bit helpless. Everyone wanted treasures, but they had to see if they had the ability. But I don't know any water divine abilities. Is your brain fried? Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda? The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda contains the 6 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and lightning. If you can enter volcanoes, you can also enter underwater worlds. And this king can teach you the Jade Sky cold mysterious art. Even if you don't have a treasure, undead experts can still use this divine ability to enter the water. Chapter 224. The Green Feather King was not polite at all. He scolded him as soon as he opened his mouth. But he scolded him in time and hit the nail on the head. The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda had a total of 6 layers. Each layer contained the 6 major powers of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and lightning. It symbolized the endless cycle of nature and the reincarnation of all living things. If one could go to the volcano, one could naturally enter the underwater world. Rumble. The river flowed majestically and fell into the big pool. 100 feet below was an oval pool. The pool formed a long river downstream, but the river water was not as powerful as the upstream. An expert of the Devil Dao had fallen in the great pool. The impact of the river could kill any longevity, realm cultivator, and seriously injure an undying cultivator. It was certain that there was a demonic expert's corpse below. He stepped on the flying sword and sank further. Following the flowing water dragon, he gradually came to the top of the big pool. The pool rolled up waves of water. He did not know how deep it was, but Su Fong was sure of one thing. There must be a shocking leech monster under this big pool. Because the pool looked bottomless, it was too terrifying. It was unknown what kind of world was under the dark blue water. It seemed to be occupied by an unparalleled big goblin. Any cultivator who went down would be swallowed. The Green Feather King recalled happily. This king came here in the past and caught a few leeches to eat. Let me tell you, leeches are very delicious. Why don't I catch a few and you can try it? Don't. He activated the Xian Wang Six Paths Pagoda and entered the pagoda. Suddenly, there was a muffled sound. The Xian Wang Six Paths Pagoda came to the surging water in the blink of an eye. He could still hear the roar of the water falling, like a mighty army galloping. If it was not for the Xian Wang Six Paths Pagoda, Su Fong really did not want to come here. Leeches. Standing in the Xian Wang space, Su Fong stared at the world outside the pagoda door. He sank deeper and deeper, reaching a depth of 30 meters. The world gradually quieted down. Su Fong was looking for leeches, but he did not find any. Whoosh, whoosh. He sank further, and some shadows suddenly broke the silence of the underwater world. Looking closely, they were indeed monsters. It was a monster that was 3 meters long and had 4 legs. It looked like a snake, but it had no scales and was completely naked. Looking at its head, it did indeed look like a lizard. The leeches were too fast in the water. Even if an imperishable realm expert came here, he wouldn't be able to move as fast as a third of the leeches. No wonder no one could come down here. Green Feather King was taking care of Bai Ling, who had transformed into a human and condensed a spirit orb. He glanced at Bai Ling and said, "Take your time. I heard that the devil was killed by an almighty from the Broken Sword sect. If no one came down here in the past 10,000 years, or if they didn't find anything, the devil might have left behind some supreme treasures. Furthermore, the devil's cultivation is undying and indestructible. Broken Sword sect that was one of the top existences in the Crimson Firmament continent, and it was also a great power in the Zhuotian realm. Immortal Su Fong didn't even dare to imagine what kind of existence it was. There were more and more leeches, and they shuttled through the dark underwater world, looking for blood and food. The Xian Wang Six Paths Pagoda was a cold transcendent artifact, and the leeches couldn't sense it. This kind of leech-level monster couldn't be considered a monster because it didn't have high intelligence. It grew with its body's astonishing strength, speed, and sharp teeth. In addition, there were many of them, and with the advantage of being underwater, even Green Feather King, Daojin Foxmother, and Sky Drill Rat Emperor couldn't stay in this underwater world for a long time. The heroes on land would become bears when they came here. The underwater world was getting wider and wider. It wasn't formed by a long river, but an existing underground river. The water in the underwater world flowed slowly, and no one knew where it ended. Fortunately, the water flow was very slow, and the materials that fell would settle at the bottom. When they came to the underwater space 100 meters deep, there was gradually some light. It turned out that too much time had passed, and the materials in the underwater world had turned into spirit chi. Thus, there was a crystalline light, and it was no longer pitch black. Underwater forest. The crystalline light illuminated the underwater world with radiance. With his perfect vision, Su Fong saw some dark green materials below. When he looked closer, he was so shocked that he couldn't close his jaw. It turned out to be a small underwater forest. He never thought that there would be such an underwater grotto under the Heavenly Gourd domain. There are really some white bones here. Gradually, he came to the top of the forest. Some white bones were scattered among the rocks at the bottom of the water. Some belonged to humans and some belonged to beasts. These white bones emitted a chilling aura. There were all kinds of moss growing at the bottom of the water, and it looked like layers of demonic chi. When he got closer to the forest, it was indeed a forest. There were some strange underwater plants that had grown over the years into thick layers of plant. Finally, the layers fused together to form a spectacular underwater forest. He reckoned that the corpse of the Devil Dao expert was somewhere in the forest. After all, after a long time, the corpse would be covered by the forest. Moreover, the more undying and indestructible the giant was, the easier it would be for the corpse to rot. Xian Wang's 6 Paths Pagoda began to drill into the depths of the forest, searching everywhere. The underwater world wasn't like the lava world, where there was a large amount of flame stones. There was nothing here. Creak, creak. After entering the depths of the underwater forest, Su Fang heard some noises. Xian Wang slowed down and passed through a few more layers of plant. He actually saw a blood mist floating in a place that looked like a nest. There were more creaking sounds coming from inside. Su Fang asked Xian Wang to get closer. Through the blood mist, Su Fang felt a faint demonic qi. Other than the demonic qi, there was also a weak demonic qi. Su Fang pondered and said, "The corpse of the Devil Dao expert, or a transcendent artifact in the blood mist. But what is demonic qi? And the blood mist?" If he could solve the problem with his brain alone, he wouldn't need to cultivate so hard. Su Fang decided to get closer again. He touched the blood mist and entered a little. Suddenly, he saw a 10 feet long, slightly wriggling demonic shadow. A demon! It was a living demon. Su Fang held his breath. Although he was uneasy, he was very happy. If it was a demon, it would be easy. He was not an ordinary cultivator, and he was not afraid of demons. As Dao Wuliang said, with the demon revealing mirror in hand, even demons would have to lie down. Activating the primordial chaos sacred realm, Su Fang got heaven and earth to approach again. He finally saw the demon's true body. It was none other than a gigantic leech. Wasn't it a primitive beast? Why did it have demonic qi? He asked Green Feather King for advice. He didn't immediately attack the leech. Green Feather King said, "Nothing is absolute. The heaven-gourd domain has existed for too long. Everything that is impossible becomes possible. When you came out, didn't the experts of the Immortal Sealing Sect also say that there are many demon experts here? Or maybe there are demon monsters in a certain space. This leech is a monster that dominates this underwater world. You can suppress it or not. With the Xian Wang 6 Paths Pagoda, no matter how it attacks, it won't be able to resist the 6 Paths Pagoda." The great power showed its usefulness. Su Fang's mind moved. He needed the Yang Qi bead. In that case, he might as well kill the leech. After all, if he left it here, who knew how many human cultivators it would kill? Forget it, I'll just suppress it and make it a commander. This leech had probably cultivated for more than 10,000 years. However, 10,000 years was not even 1/100th of Green Feather King's cultivation. It could be seen how difficult it was to cultivate. Su Fang did not want to kill it like this. He might as well suppress it and make it a commander. Activating the primordial chaos sacred realm, Su Fang transformed into a spiritual light and flew out of heaven and earth, facing the leech. He did not know what the leech was doing. It should be eating, completely ignoring the humans. Whoosh! A familiar red light shot out of the mirror. The moment it enveloped the leech, it was discovered and began to struggle. However, it was suppressed by the red light after a few struggles. Xian Wang's 6 Paths Pagoda seemed to be about to spit out 9 yang true fire to burn the leech. "Come in." Su Fang's thoughts merged with the mysterious yellow pagoda. The pagoda door flashed and sucked Su Fang and the leech that was suppressed into it. Human, human. In the first layer, the leech revealed its demonic body. Although it was unable to take human form, its physical body was stronger than the Flying Tiger King and the other commanders. Within the red light, it glared hatefully at Su Fang. It wanted to attack Su Fang, but it could not move at all. Devil mark implanted. Leech King, from now on, you will be a commander here. Behave, or I will suppress you at any time. Xian Wang's Six Paths Pagoda was not under Su Fang's control. Once the 9-yang true fire sprayed out, it would burn the leech to death. After condensing a mark, Su Fang forcefully inserted it into the leech's soul and golden core. Although the leech's consciousness was not strong, it had condensed a golden core. It was just that it could not use any divine abilities. It was not easy for the leech to form a golden core through natural energy. At this time, the leech became well-behaved. He looked at the treasure in Su Fang's hand, then at the profound yellow space, the 4 commanders, and the green feather king. He seemed to realize the terror of death. When he saw Bai Ling transforming into human form and condensing a spirit pearl, the leech excitedly flew to the green feather king and lowered its head. You are stronger than me. Can you teach me how to condense spirit pearls? Demons were of the same race. In the end, Su Fang was just a powerful human in the Leech King's eyes. He did not sincerely submit but was just suppressed. But to the powerful Green Feather King, the Leech King was different. Leech King, this king has lived longer than this king. It's not easy for you to live for so long and condense a golden core. How many demons had managed to cultivate the great Tao in the end? The Green Feather King had cultivated for 10,000 years and then been suppressed for 10,000 years. He had seen countless demon experts as well as the human cultivation world. He agreed. This king will teach you how to condense spirit pearls. But with your intelligence, you'll need at least 1,000 years to condense spirit pearls. 1,000 years is nothing. I've already lived here for who knows how many millennia. Time is meaningless to me. The Leech King finally calmed down. Senior, this is the demon core flower in my hand. Take it and help the Leech King cultivate a human form. The demon core flower flew to the Green Feather King. This demon core flower had been given to Dao Wuliang by Su Fang. But now, in order to make the Leech King completely submit to him, he had to take it out. He immediately turned to look at the tower's entrance. In the Leech King's lair, there was a shocking demon corpse. The corpse was half-eaten, and in front of the corpse, there was a faint demonic aura. The corpse of a devil path expert. Su Fangdao was delighted. He had finally found it in the Leech King's nest. With the Leech King here, even an undying expert wouldn't be able to obtain the Devil Path expert's corpse. That really is the corpse of a Devil Path expert. Over the years, many humans have come here wanting to obtain it. Unfortunately, they weren't a match for my Leech race. The Leech King actually took the initiative to introduce it to Su Fang. Illusion Cloud Rope. He waved his right hand, and the illusion cloud rope flew out of the tower and towards the Devil Chi. Once he obtained a Devil Path expert's corpse, he would definitely obtain the treasures of that undying expert. At the very least, he would obtain 1 or 2 of those treasures. Squeak! Just as the Devil Chi was wrapped around by the illusion cloud rope, a wave suddenly appeared in the surroundings. A large amount of leeches swam over, their speed astonishing. It was as if they wanted to attack the Xian Wang Six Paths Pagoda. They should have discovered that the Leech King had been suppressed. Chapter 225. What was going on? The leech monster seemed to have gone berserk. A large number of leeches appeared, and Su Fang discovered that their target was not the Xian Wang Six Paths Pagoda, or they could not sense the existence of Xian Wang at all. They were probably here for the Leech King. You bunch of leeches, damn you! Suddenly, a ruthless voice fell from above the leech swarm. Green Feather King released a shocking demonic aura and sealed Bai Ling's body. Then, he flew over with the Leech King. Big Goblin! Big Goblin! Su Fang immediately understood what was going on. No wonder the ferocious leech would flee in panic. It turned out that it was a peerless Big Goblin. This Big Goblin is very powerful. Be careful, it might sense the Xian Wang Six Paths Pagoda. Green Feather King's expression was very serious as he arrived in front of the pagoda gate. Su Fang looked at the Leech King, who had yet to transform into human form and had fangs that could crush magic treasures. "You should know what kind of monster it is, right?" The Leech King replied, "Immortal Toad's grandson." "Immortal Toad, that old monster is still alive." Green Feather King was shocked when he heard Immortal Toad's name. It seemed that he had an extraordinary understanding of the heaven-gourd domain and knew a very powerful demonic beast expert. The Leech King said, "Of course he's alive. The Toad race is different from my Leech race. Not only do they have a long lifespan, but their intelligence is also superior. Although they can't compare to the Rock race, they are still considered to be at the top of the heaven-gourd domain." Su Fang stared at Green Feather King. "Senior, do you know Immortal Toad?" "Not really. 10,000 years ago in the heaven-gourd domain, he was one of the overlords of the big goblin races here. He often gathered the demonic beast experts to deal with the human forces. We had a few encounters. Immortal Toad's cultivation is profound, and he is almost invincible in the heaven-gourd domain. Back then, I wasn't his match. I estimate that Immortal Toad has lived for at least 30,000 years. Daojian Fox Mother and Sky Drill Rat Emperor should be his match. This king is not. Even if he recovers his peak strength, without 10,000 years of cultivation, he won't be able to defeat Immortal Toad." Immortal Toad was almost suppressed by the major powers several times. If he wasn't lucky, then his methods were brilliant. At the very least, his escape technique is very good. Ziwei Star Sect, Broken Sword Sect, and Immortal Sealing Gate couldn't suppress him. This old monster Toad also has an innate ability. That's his speed and skin. Not only is his skin poisonous, but it is also incomparably tough. It can resist fire attacks and cold chi. That's why Immortal Toad can hide in volcanoes and underwater worlds. This king thought that old monster Toad would have broken through in 10,000 years and become an immortal, becoming a powerful demonic beast immortal. It seems his Toad race is still lacking compared to the Fox race and Rat race. They can't compare to my Pring race. If this king hadn't been suppressed by the Immortal Sealing Gate for 10,000 years, he would have become a demonic beast immortal in just a few thousand years. Old Monster Toad's temper is very strange, and he's very stingy. I heard that he raised a few Toad Juniors. If the ones above are Toads, then they are his descendants. Don't be enemies with Old Monster Toad for now. In the future, when this king is strong, you have to subdue him. He has been hiding here for tens of thousands of years. Who knows how many treasures he has obtained from the human race, as well as the treasures from the heaven-gourd domain. He might even have a spirit artifact. Green Feather King explained everything he knew in detail. Toad race. Immortal Toad. An old monster that had lived for 30,000 years. His strength was close to the peak of the heaven-gourd domain's cultivators. Su Fang didn't have the same thoughts as before. He still wanted to suppress the Toad, but now that he thought about it, if he suppressed the Toad, he would provoke Old Monster Toad. If a primordial chaos saint couldn't sneak attack him, then Su Fang could only flee. Green Feather King's lips rose. This king thinks that Old Monster Toad has been hiding in this heaven-gourd domain for so many years. He's worried about being suppressed by the human race. He's even more cowardly than the Sky Drill Rat Emperor. If he had the courage of Daojian's mother, he would have long since obtained the immortal Dao. Leech King, do you want to save your descendants? The Toad was extremely powerful. Su Fang wanted the Leech King to wholeheartedly serve him. Even if he had to offend Old Monster Toad, he had to save the Leech. It doesn't matter if some die. My descendants will hide in the depths of the earth. Toads won't be able to eat them. The Leech King was very calm, but in the eyes of humans, he was almost emotionless. This was a demonic beast. If it was a human, they wouldn't care about the lives of their descendant. For example, Zhao Wuji had to curry favor with the Immortal Sealing Sect no matter what. He had brought many of the Zhao family's members to the immortal sealing sect. The Leech King wasn't worried at all. Su Fang could only give up. He urged the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda to quickly leave. He really couldn't offend old Monster Toad. He arrived at the depths of an underwater forest. He had Xianwang wait for a while to avoid running into the big goblin. He also had time to check the corpses of the Devil Path expert. Within Xianwang, Su Fang raised his hand and a devil light appeared. Within the devil light was an ancient devil corpse. It was unknown how long this demonic path powerhouse had lived, or where this demonic corpse came from. The flesh and blood of this demonic corpse had already decayed. Even if it was an undying and indestructible existence, it was impossible for its corpse to remain undecayed for all eternity. The flesh didn't seem to have rotted for long, and the bones still had some life energy. Unfortunately, it wasn't empty. However, there was an unremarkable silver ring around the devil corpse's neck. It was a necklace, and the bones around it still had some human skin that hadn't rotted. Xianwang excitedly introduced, King-grade enchanted artifact. Master, this is a king-grade enchanted artifact. The quality isn't bad. A king-grade enchanted artifact. No way, how could he obtain a king-grade enchanted artifact so easily? Su Fang quickly examined it. The silver necklace emitted a faint aura. It didn't have the domineering aura of a king-grade enchanted artifact. It looked very ordinary. If it weren't for Xianwang, Su Fang wouldn't have been able to tell it was a king-grade enchanted artifact. He carefully took it out from the bones and placed it in his palm. The silver necklace was only the size of an apple. It really didn't look like a Devil Path treasure. Su Fang had Xianwang's Six Paths Pagoda carefully sense the necklace to see if it had a yuan spirit. But Xuanhuang's answer disappointed Su Fang. A king-grade enchanted artifact didn't have a yuan spirit. Xianwang then said something that comforted Su Fang. Master, this is a defensive artifact. It shouldn't be a Devil Path treasure. If Master fuses with this king-grade enchanted artifact, then no immortal cultivator will be able to harm you. Even if you stand there and let them attack you, Master won't move. That's because it's complete. A defensive artifact just happens to be missing. It's just that. Su Fang stared at the Devil Path expert's bones and sighed. Even with this defensive king-grade enchanted artifact, he still couldn't escape death in the end. Green Feather King said, this Devil Path expert should have been killed by someone even more powerful. Even if he had a king-grade enchanted artifact to protect his body, he was still killed. This is inevitable. There is always someone stronger. Treasures can only be used to assist cultivation. They can't be used to protect one's life. If treasures are really so powerful, then cultivators don't need to bitterly cultivate. Treasures weren't omnipotent. Su Fang naturally understood that. But without treasures it was impossible. Then I'll refine this defensive king-grade enchanted artifact. He then checked the Devil Path expert's bones. If he didn't find anything, he would collect the bones. Perhaps he could sell them for a good price in the Spirit Sect's ruins. Activating the Heavenly Devil Disintegration Seal, wisps of his soul entered the true Devil Blood Plate. Master! The slave from the Devil Sacrificial Sect immediately dropped to his knees and kowtowed to Su Fang. By now, he had completely submitted to Su Fang. Su Fang looked down at the fiend slave. Since you've pledged your loyalty to me, I will bestow upon you the blood of a true devil. Blood of a true devil. The fiend slave's jaw dropped. He was filled with disbelief. The blood of a true devil was a treasure that every cultivator of the Devil Path yearned for even in their dreams. Even an undying Devil Path expert might not necessarily possess the blood of a true devil. That was because the blood of a true devil couldn't be obtained through ordinary cultivation technique. You could only search for it. The fiend slave was an expert of the Devil Path. He naturally understood the importance of the blood of a true devil more than Su Fang. I won't mistreat those who are loyal to me. The blood of a true devil is a treasure that all devil path cultivators desire. And you are an undying expert. Once you merge with the blood of a true devil, you will become a true devil, a supreme true devil. Even if you return to the demon sacrifice sect, you will become a true devil among the higher-up. Yes, thank you for your gift. Remember my words. If you aren't loyal to me, I can only refine you into a puppet. Blood of a true devil. Su Fong looked behind him. After forming a seal, a drop of devil blood flew out from the blood cauldron. It was like a devil blood meteor. Blood of a true devil. The fiend's slave bowed to Su Fong once more. The blood dripped onto his head. Buzz. The fiend's slave's body trembled. Shocking devil flames erupted from his body. You should properly refine the blood of a true devil here. Once you become a true devil, you'll be able to work for me at all times. Su Fong left in a flash. Su Fong chose to refine the true demon slave at this time to find a way to increase his strength. If he encountered an undying expert like Hua Daoying, he could use the true demon slave to kill Hua Daoying. Yen Chonglua wouldn't be able to escape. Su Fong returned to the profound yellow space. He looked at the silver bracelet in his hand. He slowly released his green fiend True Flame to surround it. Little brother, Bai Ling, who had transformed into a little girl, excitedly flew over. Sister Bai, congratulations on finally fulfilling your wish of transforming into a human. Consider this king-grade enchanted item a small token of appreciation from your little brother. Su Fong originally wanted to give the silver bracelet, a king-grade enchanted item, to Crane Fairy Bai Ling, as expected of my good little brother. Bai Ling snatched the silver bracelet. It was a perfect match for her white skin. Su Fong was very comforted. Bai Ling was his family. He nodded happily. I'll help you refine it. Bai Ling condensed a drop of blood and dripped it onto the silver bracelet. Chi. The silver bracelet trembled and absorbed the blood crazily. Perhaps because its previous owner had died, it had become an ownerless item. Thus, it urgently needed a master. Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet. In an instant, Bai Ling and the silver bracelet were connected by blood. And the silver bracelet automatically wrapped itself around Bai Ling's neck. Her consciousness poured into the space inside the silver bracelet. She saw a large number of true runes and the name of the silver bracelet. She told everything she saw to Su Fong. There was not much space inside, and there were no offensive enchantments. It was all a large number of defensive sealed spaces, which combined to form an amazing defensive enchantment. Among the magic weapons, the most complicated ones were the offensive magic weapons and some spatial magic weapons. The defensive magic weapons were relatively simple, and the internal enchantments were mainly for defense. The Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet was a king-grade enchanted item. The internal space was still very amazing, and some defensive methods were also mastered by Bai Ling. In the True Runes, there was the activation method of the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet, but there was no introduction about the origin of the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet. It seemed that the person who refined it deliberately did not want future generations to know its existence. Chapter 226. Bai Ling was fusing with the Heavenly Neck Spirit Ring. It seemed that if the fusion continued, this king-grade magic weapon would become Bai Ling's most powerful reliance from now on. Moreover, transforming into a human form meant that Bai Ling didn't have to stay in Xian Wang's Six Paths Pagoda anymore. He could completely regain his freedom and go to the human world, demon world, and devil world to see. Rustle. 2 hours later. The Heavenly Neck Spirit Ring around Bai Ling's neck suddenly buzzed. Looking at Bai Ling's spiritual energy, it was also dispersing uncontrollably. Su Fong stepped forward. What's going on? The Heavenly Neck Spirit Ring and Bai Ling suddenly seemed to have never been fused. The magic weapon was breaking free from Bai Ling's control. Bai Ling struggled in pain, holding the heavenly neck spirit ring tightly with both hands. Brother, there's something wrong with this heavenly neck spirit ring. Su Fang looked up and down anxiously and found that there was indeed something wrong with the heavenly neck spirit ring. There were no true characters or marks on it. But after being fused by Bai Ling, a large number of true characters and strange magic weapon marks gushed out from it. Moreover, the heavenly neck spirit ring began to shrink slowly, tightly choking Bai Ling's neck. Bai Ling struggled more and more violently. Moreover, among the large number of mysterious marks on the heavenly neck spirit ring, some black flame-like marks gushed out and began to dance slowly, causing Bai Ling to suffer unbearable pain. Green Feather King immediately rushed over and motioned Su Fang to step back. He looked at it for a few seconds and immediately shouted to Bai Ling, "Don't use your qi, don't struggle. The more you struggle, the more powerful this magic weapon will be until it breaks your neck and disperses your soul. I feel like my mind is burning, and it's difficult for me to gather my consciousness." Bai Ling, who was struggling, tried to restrain himself after hearing this. He released his hands from the heavenly neck spirit ring and let this strange magic weapon tighten his neck. Sure enough, as Green Feather Monarch said, after Bai Ling gave up struggling, the celestial neck spirit bracelet gradually calmed down and stopped moving. The black flying magic weapon mark was gradually absorbed by the magic weapon, and everything returned to normal. The celestial neck spirit bracelet was like an accessory worn by Bai Ling. There was not the slightest aura of a magical treasure. It was a perfect match for Bai Ling. Let's talk. Green Feather Monarch signaled Bai Ling to adjust his breathing and not to activate the heavenly neck spirit bracelet. He then went to the side with Su Fang. "There's a problem with the heavenly neck spirit bracelet. Senior, can you tell?" Su Fang really wanted to know the answer. "I'm guessing that it's similar to a magical treasure used to control puppets and slaves." "Isn't this just a defensive magical treasure to control slaves? This is a king-grade enchanted item. It's not easy to refine. Who knows how many resources are needed? Who would waste their energy to refine such a high-level item? It's better to directly use a spiritual mark." "It's normal for you to think that way. Most cultivators do that. But there are some devil path experts and demon race experts who like to use magical treasures to suppress slaves and control them. They use them for cultivation and release. The heavenly neck spirit bracelet might be one of those magical treasures." "I've harmed Sister Bai. No one knows about that. You gave her a king-grade enchanted item out of kindness. Who knows what an enchanted item's true ability is? That kind of thing is very normal for cultivators. Some cultivators fuse with an unfamiliar magical treasure, and as soon as they activate it, their entrances will explode and they'll die." "Senior, what else did you see?" This king also studied the Tao of puppets in the past. Experts who truly understand puppets will refine a kind of magical treasure called a life lamp to control puppets. A life lamp. A life lamp is not an ordinary offensive magical treasure, nor a defensive magical treasure. It can be called a magical treasure, but it can also be called a magical treasure. A life lamp has life energy sealed within it, as well as all its energy. Once it's placed in a puppet's chest, activating it, the life lamp will release all kinds of energy, causing the ice-cold puppet to instantly come back to life. It's especially useful on skin puppets. The Green Feather King looked at Bai Ling. The heavenly neck spirit bracelet is very similar to a life lamp. It's just that their abilities are different. The heavenly neck spirit bracelet is specially used by experts to control slaves or puppets. Once it's controlled by the person who refined it, they can activate a mark anywhere and have the heavenly neck spirit bracelet attack the wearer. Without the refiner's incantation or magical seal, the wearer will never be able to remove it. Could it be that the devil path expert who died was also a slave controlled by someone else? Su Fang suddenly realized. That's most likely the case. Otherwise, why didn't he leave behind more magical treasures? only the heavenly neck spirit collar. Furthermore, Devil Dao cultivators are undying and indestructible. Only cultivators of that level have the qualifications to be controlled by king-grade magical items like the heavenly neck spirit collar. Then what do we do now? I can't let Sister Bai be in constant danger. Wait a moment. Don't panic. In contrast to Su Fang's panic, Green Feather King continued thinking. He had Su Fang take out the Devil Dao expert's corpse and study it. Only then did he feel a bit more confident. We can't panic. Look at this Devil Dao expert's corpse. Even if he's undying and indestructible, he should have died at least 20,000 years ago. For him to have died here for 20,000 years without his master coming to the heaven-gourd world to take back the heavenly neck collar, that's hard to explain. Su Fang also agreed. That's true. A king-grade enchanted item can control a dead slave. But a king-grade enchanted item is incredible. So the person who refined the heavenly neck spirit bracelet must have either died or ascended to a great world in the past tens of thousands of years. Or he must not be a cultivator from the Zhuotian realm, but from one of the many minor worlds outside the Zhuotian realm. He can't rush over to collect the treasure. After all, to many experts, passing through many minor worlds just for a single magical treasure isn't worth it. Whether that person is dead or alive, we have to remove the heavenly neck spirit bracelet from Sister Bai's neck. Generally speaking, you have to use absolute strength to instantly crush it. The other method, which is also the only method, is to find the person who refined the heavenly neck spirit bracelet. Once you subdue him, you'll naturally learn how to undo the bracelet. If you crush a king-grade enchanted item, Senior. He hoped that Su Fang would place his hopes on Green Feather King. The Green Feather King felt uncomfortable being stared at like that. He shook his head. Brat, don't you know that in a minor world, the strongest magical treasures are king-grade enchanted items? Only the legendary immortals can crush a king-grade enchanted item. If you're not an immortal, in a minor world, no one can easily crush a king-grade enchanted item. If you don't have absolute strength, then when you crush the heavenly neck spirit bracelet, the power will instantly kill Little Crane. This king is confident that he can crush this king-grade enchanted item with his magical treasure, but Little Crane won't be able to survive. Then there's no other way. You have to think of a way slowly. There are a lot of troublesome things in the world. Don't tell me they're all done in a hurry? The heavenly neck spirit bracelet was fused by Little Crane, so there must be information related to the refiner inside. It's just that Little Crane can't find it for now. Use the Heavenly Devil Disintegration Seal and have Little Crane cooperate with you. Enter the treasure space and search carefully. As long as you find the refiner's identity, you can slowly find that person or his successor through various channels. All right. Su Fang nodded and went to Bai Ling's side to express his regret. But while Bai Ling was in pain, he didn't blame Su Fang. That was because this matter was too unexpected and out of his control. Both sides felt that it was a good thing. The only thing they could blame was that their cultivation bases weren't high enough to see through the treasure's true ability. With Bai Ling's cooperation, Su Fang used the Heavenly Devil Disintegration Seal and sent strands of his soul into the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet along with Bai Ling's weak soul. Su Fang was very familiar with the treasure space. He couldn't touch the restrictions. Even if Bai Ling fused with it and activated the restrictions, there was a possibility that the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet would be activated and Bai Ling would be tortured. Time passed day by day. The space inside a king-grade enchanted item was truly shocking. He really didn't know what kind of existence the refiner of the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet was. About 7 days later, Su Fang's soul finally returned to his body. When Green Feather King came over, Su Fang immediately used the true text drawn with spirit runes. Chaos Monarch's 9th generation direct disciple, Li Xingqiu. From a large number of complicated and densely packed true text, Green Feather King finally found the refiner of the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet and his location. Heavenly Dipper Realm. Su Fong hurriedly looked over. Senior Chaos Monarch, have you heard of him? Never heard of him. What about Li Xingqiu? Never heard of him. Heavenly Dipper Realm. Never heard of him either. In the end, he found out about the refiner of the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet, but Green Feather King knew nothing about it. Heavenly Dipper Realm. Su Fong then communicated with the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda. In the end, the Six Paths Pagoda didn't know either, but Su Fong learned something. That Li Xingqiu was able to come to the Zhuotian realm because his demon slave died in the Heavenly Gourd realm. He came here to snatch the treasure. Therefore, the Heavenly Dipper realm should be near the Zhuotian realm. It's just that the location has to be far away or a small world that can move. Headache. Su Fong felt a headache coming on, like a watermelon that was about to split open. Green Feather King remained silent. He didn't find anything good either. Although he had lived for 10,000 years and knew the Crimson Firmament continent very well, he might not know much about the other realms. What human sovereign realm? What Wu Tan realm? I have a clue. The Heavenly Dipper realm's Li Xingqiu is the Chaos Monarch's 9th direct disciple. As long as I go to the Heavenly Dipper realm in the future, I will be able to find him. Now, I can only ask Little Crane to never activate the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet again. I hope that Li Xingqiu has fallen. Green Feather King felt apologetic that he couldn't help Su Fong and comforted him. Since that was the case, Su Fong could only wait until he was strong enough to go to the Heavenly Dipper realm to find that Li Xingqiu. However, Bai Ling was controlled by the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet, which was inconvenient for his cultivation. In an unknown space-time, in an ancient space, the space seemed to be sealed. In this hall, everything was dust. Buzz. Above the throne in the hall, there was a Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet lying quietly in a treasure box. At this time, the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet suddenly moved slightly, as if it was disturbing the sealed hall. A large amount of dust flew, and all kinds of restrictions began to activate. Master died many years ago and left me here to guard the cave. I don't know how many years I have to guard it for. Then, I will find a disciple to inherit the Chaos Monarch's orthodoxy. A figure opened the sealed hall's door. He walked in. He was a handsome middle-aged man dressed in black. He came in front of the throne and stared at the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet in the treasure box. Then, he released a special seal to wrap the treasure box. It really is the Zhuotian realm. The man seemed to have expected something before he came. He took out the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet and activated it. A Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet also appeared on his neck. After pondering for a while, the man muttered to himself, "That time, Master brought a few servants to the distant Zhuotian realm. When they returned, not only were they seriously injured, none of the servants returned. Before Master failed his tribulation, he told me to collect the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelets scattered in many small worlds. In these years, only the Heavenly Neck Spirit Bracelet that was lost in the Zhuotian realm is left." Chapter 227. Although Master is no longer here, his last words are still here. Before he died, he told me to find all the Heavenly Neck Spirit Rings and find a 10th generation successor disciple for the King of Chaos. This Heavenly Neck Spirit Ring on my neck can automatically break, and I can also break through the great calamity and step into the great world that even Master yearns for. I have waited for so many years for the Heavenly Neck Spirit Ring to be awakened in the Zhuotian realm. Otherwise, even if I reach the Zhuotian realm, without Master's blood and chi, finding the Heavenly Neck Spirit Ring is undoubtedly like finding a needle in a haystack. It's time to find the Heavenly Neck Spirit Ring and find a successor. After kowtowing and carrying out the initiation ceremony, I can completely get rid of the Heavenly Neck Spirit Ring's control and finally be free of tens of thousands of years of imprisonment. I was once a supreme being, a supreme being. The man sighed. Zhuotian realm, even Master was seriously injured there. What a Zhuotian realm, I have to prepare well, prepare. In the future, when I get a magic treasure, I can't rashly fuse with it. Heavenly Gourd Realm. Deep Pool. Xianwang's 6 Paths Pagoda Space. Staring at Bai Ling, who continued to cultivate the divine aperture spirit pearl under the protection of Green Feather King, Su Fang's heart was filled with pain. Although this was not intentional and was really an accident, the heavenly neck spirit ring was given to Bai Ling through his hands, which caused Bai Ling to be controlled by the magic treasure. More or less, he also had to bear the responsibility. After resting for a few days and waiting for the Toad Clan's experts to leave, there was no big movement in the underwater world. Su Fang decided to leave. Xianwang's 6 Paths Pagoda left the underwater forest and flew to the surface. Along the way, he encountered some leeches. Looking at their slow appearance, they must be the experts from the Toad Clan who had already left the underwater space. The law of nature was survival of the fittest. When humans and ordinary creatures came to the great pool world, almost all of them became the leech's food. Even the experts who claimed to be kings and overlords in this place had their nemesis. After smoothly leaving the great pool and the Xianhuang space, Su Fang transformed into an unfamiliar face again. He looked around and flashed out of this space. He asked Green Feather King about the location where the second demonic path powerhouse died. When Su Fang rushed over, he was interrupted. It was clear that someone had beaten him to it and obtained the corpse of the demonic path powerhouse. Su Fang had no choice but to go deeper into the heavenly gourd realm and search for the abyss where the spirit gourd was. The abyss of the land realm was the deepest part of the heaven gourd land. It was also where the spirit gourd was born. Even the land realm's spirit water came from there. Many thanks, Master, for bestowing the true devil blood upon me. Your subordinate has already become a true devil. My strength has reached the peak of the undead realm. I've become a devil and fallen into the devil Tao. A servant's voice suddenly came from the flaming cloud spiritual gourd. When Su Fang used his divine perception to take a look, he indeed saw a different servant. A devil similar to Emo Ingren. Long fangs, sharp ears, dark red eyes, and a powerful demonic aura. Just this appearance alone was enough to prove that this was a true demon. True demons were the most powerful existences within the demon race. Among the trillions of demonic Tao cultivators, true demons were few and far between. Who would have thought that Su Fang would be able to give birth to a true demon? And more importantly, this true demon was his servant. Hua Daoying, I heard that your Hua family is a huge power in the immortal sealing sect. Yan Chongluo is your subordinate. I have to kill you to cut off Yan Chongluo's path of retreat. With a peak undead realm servant, Su Fang could do many things. In the past, he wanted to do many things but didn't have the ability to do so. First, he had to get rid of the stumbling blocks in the immortal sealing sect. Yan Chongluo, Hua Daoying, Yiguren, Song Qi, Hua Tianyuan, and the others. Only then would he be able to flourish in the immortal sealing sect. Whoosh! With a wave of Su Fang's right arm, the fiend slave leaped out. It was much bigger than Su Fang, and if not for Su Fang suppressing it, it would have devoured Su Fang the moment it appeared. Luan Mo, this is your reward for being so loyal to me. Becoming a true demon isn't much. In the future, you'll even become a celestial demon. Su Fang looked at the servant and called out his name. You're an expert from the demon worship sect. You came here to take the spirit gourd. Now go back and reunite with your companions. Master, what are you? Luan Mo couldn't understand what Su Fang was thinking. I'm representing the immortal sealing sect to take the spirit gourd from the heaven gourd underworld. When the time comes, I'll definitely fight against the devil Tao. You'll be my spy. You can help me get the treasure. If I encounter powerful opponents, you can help me secretly. More people means more power. Master, Are you going to attack the other devils from the demon worship sect? That's what I'm thinking. Once I suppress them, they'll all become your subordinates. If I want to get stronger, I need a large number of servants. Don't worry, Master. Subordinate will naturally do my best to help you suppress the demon worship sect's expert. I'll even suppress the other experts from the Devil Tao. Only when Master is strong can subordinate have a future. Luan Mo hadn't expected to see Su Fang's extraordinary divine abilities so quickly. That was especially true of the true demon's blood, as well as the true demon's blood plate. He was completely terrified of Su Fang. Be on standby at any time. Wait for my orders, said Su Fang. Luan Mo obeyed and left. Luan Mo could easily return to the demon worship sect and hide there. He could be used by Su Fang to obtain the spirit gourd, the spirit water, and the underworld's experts. A peak undead true devil was incredibly powerful. At the very least, it could fight against multiple righteous cultivators on the same level. That was what a true devil was. Otherwise, the immortal sealing sect wouldn't have needed to go through so much trouble to suppress the Borneo true devil. A few days later, Su Fang flew past a majestic mountain range and arrived at a large forest. Swish! A few cultivators appeared in the surroundings. They also flew into the forest. Looking into the depths of the forest, he saw clouds that looked like the sky. Huge green vines grew in the clouds like a forest of vines. From afar, it looked like a huge spinning top. That's the abyss of the heaven-gourd underworld. Those green vines are the heaven-gourd spirit trees. Su Fang's attention was drawn to the forest of vines. This was the landmark of the heaven-gourd underworld. Here, he had arrived at the spirit gourd's birthplace, the heaven-gourd spirit tree. That green vine forest had a huge spinning top. It was called the heaven-gourd spirit tree. It was rumored that its roots had reached into the core of the crimson firmament continent. It was incomparably majestic and had lived for countless years. No one knew how long it had lived. The spirit gourd that everyone on the crimson firmament continent dreamed of had come from this heaven-gourd spirit tree. Buzz. After flying into the forest, he was about to reach the heaven-gourd spirit tree. Then he would enter the abyss of the underworld to search for the spirit gourd. However, the medallion at his waist suddenly moved. A fellow disciple was summoning him. Activating the medallion, a valiant voice came from within. I am Xueqing, a disciple of ethereal Tao rites immortal touching heaven. I am representing the upper echelon to send a message to my junior apprentice brothers. Everyone is to immediately gather here and discuss how to fight for the treasure. This time, many experts from the Devil Path and the Devil Path have come. The same goes for the other Righteous Path sections. Representing the immortal sealing sect's upper echelon isn't lying, right? Su Fang was very doubtful as he held the medallion. The Green Feather King said, This king knows about this Xueqing. Senior, he's an undead realm disciple. Do you know? Su Fang was deeply surprised. The Green Feather King was arrogant. How could he care about an undead realm disciple? Strange. Actually, this king knows about this Xueqing because his aura is related to a powerful junior from the immortal sealing sect. Su Fang's will entered Xian Wang's space and faced Green Feather King. Green Feather King said, The immortal sealing sect has many disciples. There are outer sect disciples, low immortal heaven disciples, high immortal heaven disciples, and immortal touching heaven disciples. Other than those disciples, there are also the upper echelon. For example, the sect leader, the sovereign, and so on. Sovereign Tao disciples? He had been cultivating in the immortal sealing sect for dozens of years, but he didn't know about the sovereign Tao disciples? Could it be that this sect was above the immortal touching heaven? The immortal sealing sect only has 3 sovereign Tao disciples. They're the true geniuses. The heaven ranking, mortal ranking, and earth ranking are just minor geniuses. The 3 sovereign Tao disciples are the true geniuses of the immortal sealing sect. Not only are they heavenly geniuses, but they also have extraordinary karmic luck. No matter where they go, they'll be like you. They'll find all kinds of treasures, and they'll have all kinds of fortuitous encounters, said Greenfeather King. That's because the Sovereign Tao disciples are candidates to become the next sect leader of the Immortal Sealing sect. In other words, one of the 3 Sovereign Tao disciples will become the future leader of the Immortal Sealing sect. Leader candidate? Su Fang's eyes narrowed. Inside, he kept asking himself, what kind of person is that? Every major power in the Crimson Nimbus continent, as well as the other cultivation powers, has their own Tao of Venerables disciples. That is to say, they're candidates for leadership. Factions spend countless resources to nurture them, and they go through missions, treasure fights, and martial competitions to rise above the rest and become leaders of their factions. This Tao of Venerables disciple Xueqing is backed by Crown Prince Xue, one of the 3 Tao of Venerables disciples of the Immortal Sealing sect. He has participated in sealing me several times over the years, so I can sense his bloodline aura from far away. King Greenfeather lowered his voice. Tao of Venerables disciples aren't ordinary disciples. Even Venerables disciples are like a drop in the ocean in front of them. You can't afford to offend them, because they have the power to kill you. These 3 Tao of Venerables disciples also have their own factions in the sect. They have deep roots in the Immortal Sealing sect, from the lower immortal heaven of the 7 paradise to the patriarchs and elders. One of the 3 Sovereign Tao disciples, Prince Xue, a genius. Su Fang suddenly felt like he had woken up from a dream. Right now, 2nd place on the mortal ranking really didn't count for much. That was unless he reached the heaven ranking. As for the geniuses on the 3 rankings, they were like sesame seeds in front of the 3 Sovereign Tao disciples. Seeing Su Fang's silence, Greenfeather King continued, These 3 Sovereign Tao disciples are all very powerful. Each of them has their own fortuitous encounters. Practically all of them obtained the inheritance of immortals. They're very powerful. They don't cultivate on the Crimson Nimbus continent, but in other minor worlds. Furthermore, this king believes that in 1,000 years, you'll definitely stand at the same height as them. Prince Xue. 3 Sovereign Tao disciples. Su Fang clenched his fists. He felt like Greenfeather King's words had struck a chord with him. Right now, he couldn't compare to some Prince Xue. But in the future, he would definitely stand shoulder to shoulder with them. Using the bone-shifting art, Su Fang transformed into Fang Yu's appearance and immediately flew in the direction Xueqing had come from. Since it was an expert from a Sovereign Tao disciple's family, it had to be in order from the higher-up. Since that was the case, he had to go take a look. If he didn't go, it would be equivalent to not giving Xueqing any face. After all, it was easy for Xueqing to find Ice Moon Paradise. A certain disciple on a mission had been ordered by him not to go see him. In a forest near the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree, Su Fang had just arrived when 2 undying experts appeared. They were the Immortal Sealing sect's experts. Fortunately, Su Fang had activated his badge in time, or he would have already clashed with them. One of them brought Su Fang into the forest. There were over 100 Immortal Sealing sect disciples. Su Fang saw Hua Daoying among them. Chapter 228. Hua Daoying was an undying disciple. Among the 100 or so Immortal Sealing Gates disciples, he was particularly eye-catching. However, his cultivation base wasn't too high. There were many undying disciples who were far stronger than him. Golden Dragon Crown Prince, Qian Huanyun, Yen Chongluo. Su Fang once more saw a familiar face among the disciples. Most of them were immortal experts. Hua Daoying was only at the 4th heaven stage of the undying realm. Amongst the immortal touching heaven's undying disciples, his strength was only average. Qian Huanyun had once been a genius on the mortal ranking. But now, other than her looks, her cultivation base and strength were even more insignificant. Greenfeather King introduced, brat, those disciples who are at the 8th to 10th heaven stage of the undying realm are not bad. Look at that azure-robed one with a sword at his waist. That's Xueqing. Xueqing stared at that azure-robed man. As expected, he was a dragon among men. He was respected by all the undying disciples. "Why aren't you leaving?" shouted one of the undying disciples when he saw Su Fang slow down. Su Fang sped up and arrived in front of the immortal Sealing Gates disciples. Other than Qian Huanyun, the Golden Dragon Crown Prince, and Yen Chongluo, the other disciples didn't place him in their eyes at all. Just look at the 100 disciples. Which one of them wasn't a genius from the 7 grotto heavens? Which one of them didn't have a cultivation base higher than Su Fang's? It was already very polite of them to give him a few more glances. Qian Huanyun was with a few other disciples from the immortal heaven of the Ice Moon Grotto. She walked towards Su Fang alone. Su Fang also deliberately left the group. "Su Fang, I heard you've already become second on the mortal ranking. I didn't expect you to be the most promising disciple of the immortal heaven. Even the immortal heaven's disciples know about you," said Qian Huanyun in a low voice. She even glanced at the undying expert. Su Fang was still that insignificant Dayunite realm disciple from before. He bowed and said, "I was just lucky. Why did Senior Apprentice Sister and those powerful undying disciples also follow the orders of the dojo's upper echelons and come here to seize the spirit gourd?" Taking a closer look at Qian Huanyun's aura, he found that she had already broken through to the 2nd stage of the undying realm. To be able to break through from the 1st stage to the 2nd stage in less than a decade, not only did this mean that Qian Huanyun was a genius, but the resources in the upper immortal heaven were also far superior to the lower immortal heaven. Qian Huanyun said, "The higher-ups of the dojo selected some disciples from the immortal touch heaven, high immortal heaven, and low immortal heaven to carry out the mission. This time, a few undying disciples from the immortal touch heaven, such as Senior Brother Xueqing and Senior Brother Xue? What about the pi value of porcelain? Soul? What? Inchworm stings swimming splendidly? Let go of the stool and the parrot? Porcelain Bowl. This name was so familiar. He recalled that when he was carrying out a mission in the Polo Forest, he had encountered 2 incomparably powerful experts. One was from the Ethereal Dojo, and the other was from the Heaven and Earth Dojo. The porcelain bowl fades and snatches the vinegar cloud? You see Lu? Shang Jumu? Lai Horiang? Nausea? Gana Sung Gyu Xueqing? The porcelain bowl fades and raises the crotch line Na Sung Gyu? The servant wraps around the bowl? Lian Ji Chong? Li Kong Zhe Bei Dan Di Huang Chong? Huan Qian Huan Ji? Major? Huan Jiao Qin Si Straw Field. These geniuses, as long as they passed the undying realm, were destined to become higher-ups like Yen Kaifeng. Then the undying and undying senior apprentice brothers of the frozen moon grotto heaven are willing to listen? Porcelain bowl cadmium pi ji tsong mi beer. The latter pondered for a moment, as if it was difficult to answer. The undying disciples of the dojo are also considering, but from the looks of it, no one dares to not listen to Xueqing? Porcelain bowl mold? Leech? Embedded gyu? Mechanical milk cow? Lips? Liao Hua Huang La Huanli? Yixing Di Chuan Xinging? Zhongzhili? Li? Beinuami? Xian Mao Che Gu Wa Xing Shui Yixing, Na Sungyu? Isn't it Prince Xue? Su Fang's heart thumped, and he suddenly thought of a few possibilities. His name is Prince Xue. The undying and undying disciples don't even qualify to know about him. Only the undying disciples of the celestial grotto heaven are aware of Prince Xue's existence. Apparently, not only has he surpassed the undying realm, he has a higher status than the higher-up. He has the support of the higher-ups, and has established one of the 3 great factions in the House of Immortal Sealing, the Crown Prince Society. The Crown Prince Society? That's right. I only learned about the Crown Prince Society when I went to the immortal heaven, and got in touch with some of my elder brothers and sisters. I heard that most of the disciples in the 7 great grotto heavens have joined the 3 great factions. There's even a rumor that the leader of the Crown Prince Society, Prince Shui, has already been selected as the next leader. Everyone is trying to curry favor with him. Right now, the Crown Prince Society is like the sun at high noon in the immortal grotto heaven. Who would dare to offend him? That's why I don't know how to answer your question. If you offend them, they can do whatever they want to you. In fact, they can even kill you. One of the undying disciples is Qing Lang. Back in the immortal heaven, I came into contact with experts from Qing Swordsman's clan, and learned that Qing Swordsman was looking for experts from the Qing clan to steal your emptiness pouch. Therefore, the immortal heaven is very dangerous. If you have no other choice, you should leave immediately. Many thanks, elder sister. The expert from Qing Swordsman's clan was Qing Lang. If Qing Swordsman wanted to deal with him, like Song Chongqing from the Song clan, he would definitely let Qing Lang attack him. It would be very easy for an undying disciple to kill him. Qian Huanyun's warning was a big risk of offending Qing Lang. After all, she was only at the 2nd layer of the undying realm. If Qing Lang was unhappy, he could deal with her at any time. He accepted this favor. After a while, when Qian Huanyun returned to the group of experts from the Frozen Moon Grotto Heaven, Xueqing and Qing Lang started talking. Porcelain mace legs, illusory cormorant seduction? Fishy play? Luck? Mace model? Porcelain mace invading hemorrhoids? Mechanical milk cow? Robber's laughter whoosh cover closing side? Valley ash bleak? Line copy perhaps? Porcelain mace carving withering curl? Hugging a carriage protecting me? Moo? There's Gamma? Hugging a carriage hurting curl? Gamma? Cormorant seducing Pujang? Bailu? Talking men invading value with the power of life and death. Who wouldn't be afraid? Xueqing looked at everyone and said, I am Xueqing, and I represent the Misty Dao sect's upper echelons to pass on a message. This time, the appearance of the Spirit Gourd has attracted countless Devil Dao experts from the Devil King continent, as well as countless elites from the continent. There are also many big goblin in the Heavenly Gourd domain. Thus, everyone must unite and seize the Spirit Gourd and Spirit Water. His words were very direct, and no one refuted him. No one could afford to offend the Crown Prince faction. Everyone, don't worry. Treasures other than the Spirit Gourd and Spirit Water will belong to whoever obtains them. As long as we obtain the Spirit Gourd and Spirit Water, we must make a great contribution to the sect. Of course, you don't have to act together. It'll depend on your own plans, added Xueqing. Senior brother, we're not here to seize the Spirit Gourd. We have other missions, so we can only act alone. Who would have thought that after he said that, several undying disciples led a group of disciples away. They didn't give Xueqing any face. Although Xueqing didn't say anything, his expression was like ice. Everyone knew he wasn't happy. Since the remaining disciples don't have any objections, let's go to the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. Porcelain mace provokes the Heavenly Gourd prayer? Qin instigates the rebellion of the Heavenly Gourd, senior brother Shui. Those people don't want to join the Crown Prince faction. It seems they're from the other 2 factions. Should we deal with them? Su Fang, who was flying through the crowd, suddenly heard something. Porcelain mace prayer? 2nd step? Resistance? 3rd step? 3rd step? Xueqing smiled. They have their own choices. But once my Crown Prince becomes the leader, they won't have a good ending. Right now, our main goal is to seize the Spirit Gourd Spirit Tree. A few clowns aren't enough for the Crown Prince faction to view them highly. After saying that, Xueqing fell silent. The Crown Prince faction's tone was too arrogant. They didn't even place those undying disciples in their eyes. Su Fang, you're 2nd on the human ranking. In the future, you'll also join the High Immortal Heaven. As they approached the heavenly gourd spirit tree, several undying disciples of the Ice Moon Grotto conversed with Su Fang under Qian Huanyun's guidance. In truth, they only had one goal. If they could obtain the spirit gourd spirit tree, they definitely couldn't give it to Xueqing. The Ice Moon Grotto needed the spirit gourd spirit tree to strengthen their position. Complicated. The immortal sealing sect's internal affairs were too complicated. There were factions, heavenly grottos, and all kinds of Tao temples. If they rashly chose to side with someone, they might offend other powers. The Ziwei Star Sect. The path ahead suddenly slowed down. It turned out to be a group of silver-robed experts with starlight embedded in their collars, sleeves, and belts. There were over 200 of them, and they seemed powerful. They just happened to be flying over from another direction. They were the Ziwei Star Sect's disciples. The immortal sealing sect's experts didn't intentionally avoid the Ziwei Star Sect. They approached the heavenly gourd spirit tree from different directions. Along the way, they encountered the All Saints School and the Broken Sword Sect. The Heavenly Solitary Mountain. The Heavenly Solitary Mountain. Another major power had appeared. There weren't many of them, but each one of them was an undying disciple. They wore plain robes, which made them seem like a third-rate power. This was the Heavenly Solitary Mountain. The Heavenly Solitary Mountain was one of the major powers of the Crimson Firmament continent. It was a very strange power. They didn't have many disciples, but each one of them was incomparably powerful. Furthermore, their disciples rarely came out. Even so, no power could ignore the Heavenly Solitary Mountain's existence. So many major powers had come for the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. There would definitely be a storm of blood when the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree appeared. The Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. Su Fang finally stood under the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. This tree was made up of countless vines intertwined together. In addition to the vines, there were also some ordinary towering trees. It was as if the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree could fuse with any other tree and grow together. The Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree naturally won't appear here. He secretly conversed with Green Feather King, wanting to get more information. Green Feather King said, "There are many spaces under the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. They're formed by the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree's essence. Those countless spaces are where the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree will appear." Su Fang then asked, "How many Heavenly Gourds will appear?" "Usually there will be 3 to 5. Within 10,000 years, the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree will give birth to 2 or 3 Heavenly Gourds, which will also form the Earth Realm's spiritual water." "Right, I have to tell you about the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. It's not simple. Over the years, many tree monsters have come here to cultivate. Some of them are extremely powerful and specialize in hiding within the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree." Tree monsters. His heart trembled. The Heavenly Gourd Spirit World really had everything. There were leeches, a mortal toad spirit tree, and now there were tree monsters. It was no wonder even Green Feather King had never obtained a Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree here. Even if you had strength, it mostly depended on your karmic luck and opportunity. There are still many powers moving in the dark. Perhaps they've already entered the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree's space. Let's go. The undying disciples' order came from the front. Over 100 disciples poured into the bottomless abyss. Chapter 229. The Misty Abyss was where the mystical gourd tree grew. The mystical gourd tree grew in the mystical gourd boundary. Part of the tree emerged into the underground space of the mystical gourd boundary. Most of it was buried and rooted in the underground abyss. It was said that the mystical gourd tree was still growing. One day, it would emerge from the mystical gourd boundary and grow into the natural sky of the Crimson Firmament continent. It was unimaginable what kind of tree it was. The abyss of the boundary. After entering the abyss of the boundary, they saw the astonishing trunk of the mystical gourd tree. It was so huge that it pierced into the depths of the Earth's core. Some powerhouses sensed the demonic aura and demonic aura. In the abyss that was hundreds of meters deep, Xue Qing told everyone not to continue flying to the Earth's core. Below was the place where the spiritual water of the boundary was born, and around it was an incomparably large underground space. In the space, they saw the countless huge roots of the mystical gourd tree. It was like an octopus hunting prey, the roots penetrating into the surrounding rock. On some tree trunks and roots, one could see many tree holes or stone caves that were either natural or man-made. These were the entrances that countless cultivators had dug into the mystical gourd tree's body or stone walls in search of the mystical gourd tree tens of thousands of years ago. The mystical gourd tree was very magical. The gourds that grew were not at the top, but at the roots of the tree. The disciples lay dormant for a while, and there was no movement. Xue Qing finally ordered the more than 100 disciples of the 7 grotto heavens to start moving. Su Fang, along with Qian Huanyun and more than 20 immortal and indestructible disciples from Frozen Moon Grotto Heaven, chose to enter a large root of the mystical gourd tree. The most powerful indestructible disciples from Frozen Moon Grotto Heaven were Cheng Lang and 2 other powerhouses. Their cultivations were between indestructible stage 8 and stage 10, and there were a few ordinary indestructible disciples. After entering the root, it was actually a space filled with countless vine leaves and astonishing spiritual energy. It was said that once a mystical gourd was born, heaven and earth would shake, and the mystical gourd would grow from these vine leaves. There were so many spaces, and the number of mystical gourds that were born was small, so strength alone was not enough. One also needed luck. Maybe a heaven integration cultivator came to a space and happened to encounter a mystical gourd growing here. However, could a heaven integration cultivator bring a mystical gourd out with him? Of course, he could not. Before he left, he would be killed by powerhouses. In order to obtain the spirit gourd, both strength and opportunity were indispensable. The vine leaf space was also very large. It seemed that the heavenly gourd spirit tree was no longer a simple tree. After a while, the immortal disciples of the Frozen Moon Cave Heaven asked everyone to move separately. With this space as the center, they would infiltrate the surrounding small spaces to search. In this way, once the spiritual gourd appeared, the possibility of bumping into it would increase. Su Fang, Qian Huanyun, and the other 2 formed a small team and entered another tree root space. Most of the roots of the heavenly gourd spirit tree had holes dug out by cultivators. It seemed like there were still people coming here to absorb the spirit liquid of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. He's only at longevity stage 1. Won't he be a burden to us? Su Fang walked at the back of the 5-man team. There was actually an undying disciple in front of him who looked down on Su Fang. His intention was clear. He wanted Su Fang to leave. Qian Huanyun said, "Senior brother, junior brother Fang is currently ranked 2nd on the mortal ranking. Since the sect master has taken a liking to him, his cultivation will also skyrocket. But he's only at longevity stage 1. He can help us get the spiritual gourd." That disciple did not want Su Fang to be a burden. However, Qian Huanyun protected Su Fang. It seemed that female cultivators were more like fellow disciples than male cultivators. Fang Yu followed closely. Little did he know that Su Fang was eager to move alone. In his eyes, the disciples here were instead a burden to him. He also sensed that the devil slave Luan Mo was nearby, so he could secretly contact him. However, Qian Huanyun wanted to protect Su Fang, so Su Fang decided to wait for Luan Mo to get closer before leaving the team. "Kiki, humans, you actually came to my territory." A hoarse laugh suddenly came from the lush vine leaves in front of Su Fang. "Immortal ceiling sex cultivators, haha, those cultivators must be well nourished." "Tree demon." Su Fang could not sense any devilish qi from the voice, but the monstrous qi in this space was astonishing. It was very likely the tree demons that Greenfeather King had mentioned. Tree demons were like leeches in a large pool. This was their territory. Human cultivators who came here would only be ambushed and killed. Unless they were all at the perfection stage. Slow down, senior apprentice sister. Among them, Su Fang and Qian Huanyun had the weakest cultivation bases. Hearing the tree demon's voice, Su Fang immediately stopped Qian Huanyun and warned him not to leave too quickly. Their strength was the weakest among the 20 experts of the Frozen Moon Cave. What did you find? Qian Huanyun did not understand why Su Fang was stopping him. If they could not keep up with those experts, then once they were left alone, they would not be able to leave alive. Su Fang shook his head. He was not sure if the tree demon would attack them. What if it didn't? Furthermore, he did not want Qian Huanyun to know about his ability. Rustle. But in just a breath's time, the two of them were 3 meters behind the group. Suddenly, countless roots flew out of the dense vine forest. Although they were called roots, they were as sharp as enchanted treasures. They were like a net that attacked the dozen or so experts in front of them. Chi. In just an instant, several people were killed or heavily injured. Tree demons, be careful. They're good at hiding. As long as we work together, they won't be a match for us. Daluo Heavenly Sword Formation. Tring Lang and the other undying experts dodged the tree demons' sneak attacks. Seeing the corpses of their fellow disciples being killed by the tree demons and then dragged into the vine forest by the roots, Tring Lang's expression became ugly. The tree demons and Qian Huanyun turned pale with fright. They suddenly felt like they had taken a trip to the gates of hell. It was Su Fang who had pulled them back. Su Fang calmly said, "Let's go. Senior apprentice sister, if we stay here, we won't be able to help. We'll just be a burden. Where are we supposed to find those experts to protect us?" Qian Huanyun was terrified. Those disciples that had been killed by the tree demons were all undying disciples, and their cultivation bases were higher than hers. She felt like she wouldn't be able to leave the spirit tree's space alive. Of course we have to leave the abyss. With our cultivation bases, we won't be a match for the tree demons. We also won't be a match for the devil path cultivators, let alone the demons. That's right. This is also my first time in the Heaven Gourd realm. It's also my first time encountering the birth of a spirit gourd. I originally wanted to try my luck, but who would have thought this place would be so dangerous? Qian Huanyun immediately made the decision to leave with Su Fang. The two of them flew back in the direction they had come from. Stepping on their flying swords, they no longer cared about the battle behind them. At the very least, the powerful undying disciples wouldn't have any problems fighting the tree demons. But they couldn't be sure about the undying disciples. Swoosh! They finally flew out of the tree hole and arrived at the space where the 100 or so disciples had come from. But when they arrived, they saw several corpses of the immortal sealing sex longevity and undying disciples. There was clearly devil poison on their corpses. They had clearly encountered devil path experts. The Luan devil is even closer. Could it be that these devil path cultivators aren't from the demon sacrifice sect? Glancing at the corpses, Su Fang pondered for a moment before telling Qian Huanyun to leave. "Why aren't you leaving?" Su Fang sent Qian Huanyun to the exit. Qian Huanyun was puzzled when he saw that Su Fang wanted to stay behind. Su Fang waved her hand. "Senior apprentice sister, you should know that junior apprentice brother obtained a large amount of treasures during the 100-year trial. There are even high-grade enchanted items among them. So I want to try my luck. Senior apprentice sister, you should leave. Just wait here. If junior apprentice brother obtains any treasures, I'll naturally bring one back for you." "I really don't understand you. In the past, I didn't understand you. You reached second place in such a short time. Now, I don't understand you at all. Even the undying disciples can't foresee the danger of the tree demons, but you were the first to discover it. I appreciate your kindness, but don't force yourself. Only by staying alive can you have a tomorrow." Qian Huanyun smiled knowingly, then stepped onto his flying sword and flew up into the sky. If she insists on trying her luck here, she'll most likely die here. But if she leaves now, her chances of survival will be higher. I hope she doesn't run into any accidents. She turned and entered the space. Su Fang sucked the corpses of the immortal sealing sect's disciples into the true devil blood plate. He would let Luan Mo cultivate in the future. In any case, the corpses would just become food for the tree demons. Swish! A human figure suddenly flashed from the left side of the vine forest. There's another fish from the immortal sealing sect that slipped through the net. It was a black-robed devil Dao cultivator. He wasn't a true devil, so he looked like an ordinary human. Undying expert. Su Fang knew he wasn't a match for him. He used the ruler's divine steps and flew away. He was now a disciple of the immortal sealing sect, so he didn't use any methods to suppress devils. The devil Dao expert chased after him. After chasing for a few hundred meters, Su Fang flew into another space. He didn't know he would run into several immortal sealing sect's undying disciples. Senior apprentice brothers, save me! Su Fang flew over, fleeing for his life. It's that Fang Yu from the Ice Moon Grotto. Should we save him? Save what? Senior apprentice brother Yin has a grudge with him. He even told us to tell him where he is if we meet him. He didn't expect these undying disciples to just watch him die. They didn't help Su Fang at all. Su Fang learned that they had a close relationship with Yen Chongluo. It seemed he had come to the right place. Perhaps Yen Chongluo was nearby. He could get rid of this scourge. He still prioritized fleeing. When he entered another space, the devil tactfully left. It seemed he knew this place was filled with cultivators from the immortal sealing sect. After hiding for a while, Su Fang was on guard against the tree demon's attacks. He changed his appearance. Luan Mo is nearby. I'll go meet him and see what the demon sacrifice sect and devil Dao's experts are planning. Then I'll wait for the spirit gourd to appear. As for Yen Chongluo and Hua Daoying, they're just clowns. Originally, he wanted to wait for the spirit gourd to appear, but sensing Luan Mo's aura nearby, Su Fang's thoughts changed. He left this space and went to meet Luan Mo. After bypassing a few large tree root spaces, Su Fang finally flew out of the spirit tree's inner space. When he was in the air above the abyss, he sensed that Luan Mo was somewhere below and was approaching him. In order to save time, Su Fang sped up and flew over. Su Fang seemed to have arrived at the core of the Earth Realm's abyss. He landed in a mountain range and happened to see several furtive figures in a forest. You wouldn't know until you saw Su Fang, but as soon as you saw him, you could tell he was filled with killing intent. The Supreme God Sect. So they were experts from the Supreme God Sect. Su Fang still remembered how he had been heavily injured. He wasn't surprised at all that the Supreme God Sect had come here. The Supreme God Sect also wanted the Spirit Gourd. The Supreme God Sect is filled with rich people. Kill them. Su Fang smiled coldly and immediately followed behind the Supreme God Sect's expert. Suddenly, a woman's voice rang out from below. Oh, what kind of resources does your Supreme God Sect not have? You want to cooperate with my Dual Immortal Sect? Dual Immortal Sect. Su Fang was even more curious. Why would a sect that focused on dual cultivation appear here? Chapter 230. The Twin Immortal Sect was a power that everyone on the Crimson Firmament continent knew about. No matter how powerful it was, this sect was only considered a second-rate power. But it wasn't strong. It was intertwined with all kinds of powers and people. It was rumored that it was also connected to the small worlds outside the Zhuotian realm. Especially since it was a sect where women cultivated with men. Even many disciples of the Celestial Sealing Sect were secretly working with the Twin Immortal Sect. How did such a sect get together with the Supreme God Sect? Filled with curiosity, Su Fang hid in the forest and pricked up his ears to listen for any movement. He thought that the Supreme God sect only had a few people, but he didn't know that there were more than 200 disciples in the depths of the abyss. The Twin Immortal sect had nearly 100 people, and most of them were undying experts. So many people should have come for the spirit gourd that was about to appear. Su Fang didn't dare to get too close. A barrier enveloped the forest, and he could hear more than a dozen undying experts hiding in the dark. Not long after, several extremely powerful people flew out of the forest. Green Feather King reminded, "Kid, these people are undying existences. They are the true experts of the Twin Immortal sect and the Supreme God sect. Once they set their eyes on you, even a teleportation talisman won't be able to save you. You can only hide in the space of a magic treasure and use it to escape." What he meant was that Su Fang shouldn't offend the Twin Immortal sect or the Supreme God sect's disciples here. Su Fang also planned to leave. If he was really discovered, there would only be one ending. He would hide in the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda and run for his life. Even the demon slave Luan Mo wasn't a match for such experts. But just as he was about to leave, a group of male and female cultivators flew out from the other end of the forest. They were most likely from the Twin Immortal sect. They actually caught a dozen or so female cultivators. These female cultivators were actually from the Ziwei Star sect, the Broken Sword sect, the Celestial Sealing sect, and other major powers. Qian Huanyun. There were 2 female disciples of the Celestial Sealing sect. Su Fang looked carefully, and his heart skipped a beat. One of them was actually Qian Huanyun, who had flown out of the abyss. How was that possible? Could it be that after Qian Huanyun left, he was ambushed on his way here? The cultivators from the Twin Immortal sect could have easily suppressed Qian Huanyun. However, the Twin Immortal sect was only a second-rate power. How could they dare to capture the female disciples of so many great powers? Female slave immortal. In the forest, the light was dim and it was very dark. However, under Su Fangda's perfect vision, he could see most of the people in detail. An immortal expert walked out of the Supreme God sect. He looked at the Twin Immortal sect and saw a female expert walk out. This woman was very young. Most undying indestructible cultivators were potentates, and most of them were middle-aged. However, this woman was only in her early 20s. She was clearly a young woman. Her long dress wrapped tightly around her body, making her already impressive figure even more alluring. Female slave immortal, she enthusiastically walked over to the man from the Supreme God sect. The man was around 35 years old, and had a horse-like face. This kind of business can't be done often. Why do you want female disciples from large powers, and they have to be virgins? If they were virgins, you could get them anywhere. The horse-faced man snorted disdainfully. How could female cultivators from large powers be compared to trash from the mortal world? Our Supreme God sect's business this time is precisely this kind of high-quality goods. Your Twin Immortal sect can forget about it. Think about the price. The female slave immortal laughed. We can slowly discuss the price. It's not our first time doing business. I'll give these women to you first. Taking advantage of the appearance of the spirit gourd, my Twin Immortal sect can use our identities as Devil Path cultivators to secretly capture some of the most beautiful women from large powers. Alright, I'll accept these people first. I'll also go take a look at the spirit gourd. I can't come here for nothing. Spirit gourds and spirit gourds from the Earth realm can fetch astronomical prices in my sect's ruined market. The man waved his hand, and the Supreme God sect's disciples brought the weak female cultivators into the forest's barrier. I'll go watch over these women. The female slave immortal smiled gracefully and led the men into the barrier. Let's go. The undying existences of the Supreme God sect flashed out of the mountain range. Qian Huanyun, the Supreme God sect and Twin Immortal sect are actually fishing in troubled waters, capturing female disciples from large powers and secretly trading with them. He wanted to leave, but he couldn't. Qian Huanyun was inside. He couldn't just leave like that. He could only ask Green Feather King for advice. Green Feather King said, "The Crimson Firmament continent is very complicated. Although it looks like the sects and powers are getting along peacefully, they've long been fighting in secret. The twin immortal sect can't even be considered a third-rate power. After these years of development, they've probably roped in quite a few experts and become a second-rate power. As for the Supreme God sect, they're capable of doing anything. Buying and selling human, monster, and devil path experts is just business for them. There's probably some extraordinary person who wants to buy a large number of female disciples from large powers through the Supreme God sect to dual cultivate some evil cultivation technique, or reincarnate. In any case, if these women fall into their hands, their lives will be over. Qian Huanyun is inside. I can't just stand by and watch him die." Su Fang's gaze was decisive, but he was also conflicted. If he wanted to save someone, he couldn't just rely on his mouth. Green Feather King said, "This king doesn't have any suggestions. You can decide for yourself, but you have to think of a good way to save them while also protecting yourself from harm." He truly couldn't help with this matter. In the end, they still had to rely on Su Fang alone. He calmed down and carefully released his intelligence. How could a single longevity cultivator save someone in front of countless experts from two large powers? 2 hours, several hours. Got it. Su Fang suddenly clenched his fists and turned to fly away. "This method of yours is perfect. Good method, good method." Green Feather King clicked his tongue in praise. He quickly returned to the spirit tree space where the immortal sealing sect had gathered. Su Fang condensed a special seal and used it to send a message to each of the immortal sealing sect's disciples. The content was very simple. He said that he had coincidentally discovered that the dual immortal sect and the Supreme God sect were capturing a large number of female cultivators from various large powers. They wanted to sell them. He even mentioned the specific locations of the female disciples he had seen. Swish, swish, swish. After a while, a large number of experts from the immortal sealing sect flew out from different spirit tree spaces. Xueqing? Porcelain mace illusion cormorant cherry? Ugh! Hot play. Qin Chun? Qin Chun Jian? Porcelain cadmium? Ada? Uranium rolling sword skeleton? Yuan Qiezhen? Disciple personally saw senior apprentice sister Qian Huanyun fall into their hands. Su Fang nodded with certainty. Everyone, immediately notify the Ziwei Star sect, the Broken Sword sect, and the other powers that you know. How dare the Supreme God sect and the Dual Immortal sect act so impudently on the Scarlet Firmament continent? Yes. The Immortal Disciple issued a decree, and more than 100 people began to condense seals. Su Fang did not interact with the disciples of the Ziwei Star sect, the Broken Sword sect, and the other large powers, but the other immortal and immortal disciples were different. They more or less knew some people. Let's go. Xueqing? Porcelain mace illusion cormorant? Qin Shun Mi Pu Yao? Qian 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 Qian? After finding the mountain range, they were discussing how to deal with it. The experts of the other powers came one after another. The Ziwei Star sect, the Broken Sword sect, and the Divine Martial Sacred Mountain that Su Fang did not know, as well as many second-rate powers. Soon, hundreds of Immortal Realm experts gathered. Among them, there were naturally people like Xueqing, Porcelain Mace Lai, Milk Nua Siuanin, a peerless disciple from the Ziwei Star sect, and Xueqing, Porcelain Mace Fresh and Ding. Qian Qian? Play? Dazzling? Qian 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 Qian? Ingui Zheng? Ji Qian Qian Qian? AI? Ing Di Chong Tua? Hugging Feet? Gamma Qian 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 Qian? Sifting Ing Qian 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 Qian? Qian Qian? Qian 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 Qian? Qian 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 Qian? Qian Qian Qian? Xueqing had the bearing and magnanimity of an expert. He introduced Su Fang in front of everyone. This matter was also discovered by this junior brother named Fang Yu beside me after he experienced danger. Otherwise, how many junior sisters would we have lost? Junior brother Fang, you've done well this time. The genius disciples of the surrounding large powers all sized up Su Fang. Xue Qing whispered something in Su Fang's ear. Su Fang said to the crowd, "The twin immortal sect is led by an expert called the female slave immortal. As for the supreme god sect, I'm not sure, but I estimate that there are several people who have surpassed the immortal realm." Is that so? The female slave immortal, it's actually her. This woman is an elder of the twin immortal sect. She actually dared to secretly touch our people, and even did business with a second-rate power like the supreme god sect. Yeah, what does she think our power is? After the genius disciples who stood at the peak of the immortal realm heard this, they were all furious. As for Su Fang, he learned that the various experts had already notified the various large sections. The immortal realm experts had come to reinforce them. There was no way around it. The other side was an immortal realm expert. Although everyone here was a genius, they weren't a match for those immortal realm experts. Buzz. In just half an incense stick's worth of time, over 1,000 geniuses had gathered in the air. Suddenly, a formless pressure appeared. That pressure made the geniuses feel like they were about to be caught in the palm of a peerless expert and killed instantly. Green Feather King warned Su Fang, "Careful, it's one of the immortal ceiling sect's 3 exalted disciples, Prince Xue. Prince Xue is here." Su Fangdao was startled. A legendary peerless expert had actually come to the heavenly gourd world. "Fellow Taoists, I am the immortal ceiling sect's disciple, Prince Xue. The higher-ups of the immortal ceiling sect have sent me here to handle this matter. Your various powers have already gathered here. Listen to my orders. Surround the mountain range and kill any survivors from the twin immortal sect and supreme god sect. Leave the internal matters to us." His voice was incorporeal and domineering. It was like his voice had long since merged with nature. He's Prince Xue. He once killed several geniuses of the Devil Path, and then he challenged the Green Lotus Sword sect's peerless genius in the Wu-Tan world. He's a genius whose name has spread through countless minor worlds. Other than the immortal ceiling sect's disciples, thousands of people were startled. Prince Xue, those 3 words were a symbol of power and prestige. Everyone was looking up at the sky, wanting to see the glory of a peerless expert. It was a pity that the undying and indestructible giants were all existences that could only be seen in the shadows. Prince Xue had said that the other powers experts had also come, but no one had sensed them. That was inconceivable. So those true experts had long since arrived. It was just that no one had noticed them. Thousands of people began to wait for the mountain range below. Little fellow, those who have surpassed the immortal realm are true experts. Those who go to other minor worlds are all venerables. Furthermore, they can go anywhere they want. For example, Prince Xue is young and powerful. He really has a chance to become the next leader of the immortal ceiling sect. Seeing that Su Fang's thoughts had been stirred, Green Feather King smiled indifferently. "Give me 1,000 years. No, I don't need 1,000 years. I, Su Fang, will also become someone like Crown Prince Xue." Su Fang secretly competed with himself. An uncontrollable surging energy surged out of his body, allowing him to constantly overcome difficulties. Chapter 231. You've done well this time. When we return to the Tao Right, Frozen Moon Paradise's higher-ups will reward you. King Greenfeather sat in the void. "With my power, I can't save Qian Huanyun. I can only make this news public. The major powers won't just watch as their disciples are sold off by the Supreme God sect." This was all part of Su Fang's plan. It was the perfect way to save someone. He wouldn't have to take the risk, but he could also save Qian Huanyun. Bang! Suddenly, A thunderous sound came from the depths of the mountain range. Clearly, undying and indestructible experts were fighting each other. As the muffled thunder boomed, electricity suddenly flowed through the depths of the gloomy forest. All sorts of ripping and murderous intent filled the place. "Let's go!" Thousands of geniuses from various powers surrounded the mountain range under the lead of their respective geniuses. About an hour later. During this time, the mountain range was in a terrifying state. All kinds of divine abilities filled the interior. Swish. Some figures in a sorry state were either seriously injured or half dead. They were trying to escape. Junior brothers, it's best to capture the twin immortal sect and supreme god sect's disciples alive. That way we can denounce them. The rest of you, charge in and save your fellow disciples. Xueqing ordered the immortal sealing sect's expert. Whoosh. At almost the same time, thousands of experts from dozens of different powers appeared around the mountain range, attacking the dozens of people who had escaped. It felt like a large army was suppressing a small village. Su Fang didn't even need to do anything. The indestructible disciples had already gone to take the credit. Su Fang flew into the forest, and some other disciples also flew in. When Su Fang arrived at the forest, he was shocked. It looked like a forest from the outside, but the inside had been razed to the ground. A large number of monsters were crawling out of the ruins, tearing apart the corpses of the twin immortal sect and supreme god sect. A formation. Once they entered the depths of the ruins, the experts of the major powers saw a defensive formation. Everything around it had been destroyed. The only thing left was the formation. When they approached the formation, they found that there was another formation inside. This meant that the inner formation was being suppressed by an even more powerful outer formation. There were dozens of experts from the twin immortal sect and supreme god sect inside. They were all in the undying realm. Not a single indestructible expert was present. The imperishable realm experts should have escaped, but facing the encirclement of thousands of great forces, none of them could leave alive. As for the undying experts of the dual immortal sect and the supreme god sect, there was no sign of them, no corpses, and no peerless experts from the other forces. Presumably, they had already left after killing the leaders of the two major forces. Hundreds of powerhouses surrounded the formation, and a few imperishable realm powerhouses joined together to form hand seals. The powerhouses charged into the formation. "Stop resisting. If you resist, we'll refine you into puppets." Su Fang heard the shouts of the experts in front of him, but it was useless. The disciples of the dual immortal sect and supreme deity sect seemed to have gone mad. They wanted to kill their way out. That was because they knew that even if they gave up resisting, they wouldn't be able to survive. They might as well fight their way out. The two sides once more fought within the formation. With the imperishable realm experts present, the disciples of the various large forces were unstoppable. It was as if they were cutting through all obstacles. Su Fang took advantage of the opportunity to head to the center of the spell formation, where he saw dozens of women trapped and moaning weakly. Su Fang caught sight of two female disciples from the House of Immortal Sealing. One of them was none other than Qian Huanyun. Su Fang's figure flickered, and he made a grasping motion to drag them out. "What, it's you!" Qian Huanyun turned pale with fright. She thought someone had attacked, but when she saw Su Fang's appearance, she relaxed. "After we parted ways, I accidentally ran into the Supreme God sect. When I saw you and this senior apprentice sister being imprisoned by the twin immortal sect, I notified all my fellow disciples. In the end, the leader of the Crown Prince faction, Prince Xue, personally came to save you." Su Fang undid the seals on the two women. The two of them had taken medicinal pills that restrained their life essence, and they were unable to control their strength. They wouldn't be able to recover in a short time. I was really unlucky. Along the way, I ran into a female disciple from the twin immortal sect who asked me for help. In the end, they ambushed me, said Qian Huanyun furiously. Senior apprentice sister. Suddenly, Su Fang's ears twitched. He heard a voice that made his heart skip a beat. Senior apprentice sisters, you can rest here. The other senior apprentice brothers from the sect are already here. You won't be in any danger. Su Fang flew in the direction of the voice. The female disciple with Qian Huanyun looked over curiously. Junior apprentice sister Huanyun, this disciple called Fang Yu's strength is unfathomable. Just look at his speed. He's almost on the same level as you. He's a genius. I underestimated him in the past. Let's go. Qian Huanyun grabbed her wrist and walked away. Swoosh. Su Fang flew past the center of the formation. He saw quite a few imprisoned female disciples. He slowed down and saw two masked women in black robes floating in front of him. They were currently saving one of the imprisoned women. Seeing the woman, Su Fang excitedly flew up and shouted, "May Er! Su!" That woman raised her head in shock. It was Xiao Meier. A masked disciple in black robes suddenly appeared. He was actually an imperishable expert. Stop! Although Su Fang was surprised and anxious, he didn't forget to be polite. She's my friend. This senior apprentice sister from the Zunv Pavilion is Fang Yu, a disciple of the Celestial Sealing sect. You're Fang Yu? Since they knew about Su Fang must have informed the Celestial Sealing sect. Then the other powers had learned about it. The Zunv Pavilion's experts must have understood the situation, so they naturally knew about him. Senior apprentice sister, he really is my friend. Xiao Mei had been rescued by another powerful black-robed woman. She had been unsealed and was slowly recovering her energy. She was slowly flying over. Su Fang ignored the two imperishable experts from the Zunv Pavilion. Mei, are you all right? I suffered a bit of a shock, but I'm fine. I didn't expect you to save me again. You've saved me 3 times now. Xiao Mei nodded at Su Fang. We have to leave this place and find a place to properly recover. One of the female experts reminded the other. Su Fang immediately bowed. Can I go with you? I haven't seen Mei in so many years, and I want to catch up. Your Zunv Pavilion is far away in the snow-wind continent. Without an imperishable cultivation base, it's difficult to go to such a distant place. I ask senior apprentice sisters to make things easier for us. Our Zunv Pavilion doesn't have any male disciples. Disciples also can't easily come into contact with outside men. One of the masked disciples heartlessly refused. Senior apprentice sister, just make things easier for us. Xiao Mei also strenuously begged. Since you're a disciple of the Celestial Sealing sect and have also helped our Zunv Pavilion save quite a few junior apprentice sisters, I'll give you an extra chance. But you have to be able to keep up. If you can't, then I'm sorry. Let's go. That expert waved her arm, and a burst of profound chi enveloped the 3 of them. They were like wisps of smoke as they flashed to the right. Degree Flame Cloud Wings, his divine sense exploded, and the mental cultivation method of the illusory flame cloud immediately appeared in Su Fang's mind. A pair of flame wings appeared behind him, carrying Su Fang like a star in the night sky. They left behind only a tail as they chased in the direction that the expert from the Zunv Pavilion had left. Junior apprentice sister, aren't you making things too difficult for that brat? How can he catch up to our speed? We're almost at the peak of the imperishable realm. Our Zunv Pavilion has its own rules. If he wants to see junior apprentice sister Xiao, he has to follow our rules. Let's see if he has the ability to do so. The abyss was extremely large. It wasn't just the huge trunk of the heavenly gourd spirit tree. The world below was a complex underground space composed of large amounts of canyons, mountains, and forests. A group of profound shadows repeatedly flashed out of the forest. Within the profound shadows, it was Xiao Mei and 2 powerful female disciples of the Zunv Pavilion. Xiao Mei looked back worriedly. She didn't know if Su Fang would be able to catch up. As for the two experts from the Xian NYU pavilion, they were as calm as the clouds and the wind, and as cold as frost. From their point of view, this was just a method to deal with the situation. They simply didn't want Su Fong to know about their secret base. This way, they could also give Su Fong and Zunv Pavilion a way out. A female expert comforted Xiao Mei junior apprentice Sister Xiao, since he's a friend, then don't think too much about it. Every female disciple of the Zunv Pavilion will not fall in love with men in the secular world. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to cultivate our sect's powerful mental cultivation method. Facing the two imperishable realm disciples, Xiao Mei was only at the heavenly union realm. She couldn't even reach the immortal realm. She couldn't resist the power released by the imperishable realm disciples in her heart. Trembling with fear, she replied, "I only treat him as a friend. We came together from the dark forest to the crimson firmament continent. I hope he can cultivate a supreme divine ability in the celestial sealing sect." We just happened to come to the crimson firmament continent from the snow wind continent to see how the various chambers of commerce are doing. We didn't expect to meet an ordinary disciple like you. This is the immortal fate between you and us. We are imperishable realm disciples and have the qualifications and ability to bring you back to the snow wind continent. This way, you won't have to stay in the chamber of commerce anymore. Immortal fate, this is the fate between you and us. This time, we hope we can obtain the spirit gourd. The two female experts faced an ordinary disciple like Xiao Mei. The aura of experts they emitted was indeed unparalleled. Su Fong, let's part ways here. You've successfully entered the celestial sealing sect, and I'm about to grab hold of this immortal fate and go to the snow wind continent. Xiao Mei's eyes silently moistened. A valley suddenly appeared in front of them. At the intersection of several valleys, it looked ordinary, but it should be the temporary stronghold of the Zunv Pavilion's female disciples in the heavenly gourd. Whoosh! As expected, quite a few female disciples flew out of the valley. They were all wearing black robes and had jade veils covering their faces. Senior apprentice sister, the two junior apprentice sisters have returned. Over 30 female disciples were at the imperishable realm, and there were even some who had surpassed the imperishable realm. Among the female disciples, a woman in a snow-white robe walked over. Her face was still covered, and there was a purple flower on her head. Even though her appearance couldn't be seen, from her aura and her deep, intelligent eyes, one could see that she was definitely a peerless beauty. Senior apprentice Sister Wang, we've returned. The two female experts protected Xiao Mei as they flew in front of the silver-robed woman. Well done. None of our Zunv Pavilion's disciples, even if they're temporary disciples, can fall into the hands of the Supreme God sect. The woman surnamed Wang glanced at Xiao Mei. The female expert standing to Xiao Mei's left curiously asked, "Senior apprentice sister, we heard that quite a few of the celestial sealing sect's experts have come. They were the ones who killed the Supreme God sect and the dual immortal sect's experts. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to save junior apprentice sister. Now that they've come, can we still obtain the spirit gourd?" The birth of the spirit gourd depends not only on strength, but also on opportunity. The woman surnamed Wang suddenly turned around and stopped, causing all the experts to be puzzled. Why is there someone approaching us? We've been very careful. The two female experts protecting Xiao Mei were confused. Could it be? On the other hand, Xiao Mei revealed an incredulous expression. Chapter 232. Could it be Fong Yu? Xiao Mei's reaction caused the two powerful immortal realm women to be shocked. The woman surnamed Wang frowned. Who is Fong Yu? What's going on? Fong Yu is Disciple's friend. Before Disciple joined the sect, Disciple knew him in the secular world. Later on, he joined the celestial sealing sect. In front of the woman surnamed Wang, who had an unknown cultivation, Xiao Mei didn't have the slightest bit of autonomy. She obediently explained the general process of how she met Su Fang. Who doesn't have a few friends in the secular world? But you must remember that our Zunv pavilion is different from other sections. We must avoid contact with men. Our sect's mental cultivation method is to clear the heart and reduce desires. Blindly locking yourself in the past will not allow you to pursue the immortal path. Xiao Mei could only nod her head silently as tears once again welled up in her eyes. Chi. Above the canyon forest, a figure riding a flying sword appeared in front of the dozens of Zunv pavilion experts at the same speed as an immortal realm cultivator. It was like a rabbit arriving in front of a pack of hungry wolves. This time, Su Fang was a rabbit. Zunv pavilion was filled with immortal realm experts. Naturally, it was a pack of fierce wolves. Su Fang calmly flew over and cupped his fists in the air. Fairies of Zunv pavilion, I am Fang Yu, a disciple of the Celestial Sealing sect. A female expert shouted, I'll give you half an incense stick's worth of time. Once the time is up, leave immediately. Half an incense stick's worth of time has been spent chasing after me. I thought I would be able to catch up with my friends. Can you give me some more time? Half an incense stick's worth of time is good enough. All right. Su Fang compromised. He had no choice but to lower his head under the eave. If he was facing an enemy, he wouldn't lower his head. However, Zunv Pavilion was a righteous sect and not an enemy. Furthermore, Xiao Mei was a disciple of their sect. If she offended these people, how would she cultivate? Fang Yu, leave. I don't want to see you. However, what Su Fang and the surrounding women didn't expect was that while Su Fang was fighting for time, Xiao Mei threw out a rejection that was as cold as winter. Mei you have been wronged. Su Fang was startled. He didn't understand. He really didn't understand. He only had this chance to meet her once in 10 years. Why? Xiao Mei expression changed. She was just like concubine Xiao in the past, cold and emotionless. You and I have both reached our goals and entered the Zunv Pavilion and the Celestial Sealing sect to cultivate. We should sever our worldly desires and strive for the Celestial Tao. I don't want to be distracted by these things. Well said. I didn't expect that the Crimson Firmament Continent's Chamber of Commerce branch sect would have such an interesting disciple like you. Wang suddenly praised Xiao Mei and then looked at the other disciples. All of you should learn from this disciple and focus on cultivation. Yes, sir. All the Eternal Star disciples hurriedly bowed. Su Fang frowned. Mei I just want to ask if you're doing well and if your cultivation is going smoothly. If you're not happy, then leave Zunv Pavilion. I don't want to say anything else. Let's go. We'll still be friends in the future. Xiao Mei once again refused. Disciple of the Celestial Sealing School, don't waste any more time. Leave or I'll cripple your cultivation base. Do you believe me? The woman surnamed Wang finally lost her patience. I do. Su Fang resolutely and decisively said, You are an undying and indestructible existence. You must be one of the upper echelons of Zunv Pavilion. As for me, I'm just a longevity disciple. I know my own limits, but you think you can control my fate as you please? My fate is controlled by me, and no one else can. Mei I'll come to Zunv Pavilion to find you. You're very rude and ignorant. Wang didn't bat an eyelid. She seemed to be used to seeing a weakling like Su Fang venting his powerless roar. In truth, that itself was a kind of incompetent performance. In the eyes of geniuses like you, in front of big shots, people like me are indeed rude and ignorant. Then I'm that kind of person. I dare to be ignorant. I admit that I'm weak. I have this kind of courage. At this point, Su Fang took out an empty bag and tossed it to Xiao Mei. This is a token of my sincerity. Properly cultivate in Zunv Pavilion. If you feel wronged, just leave. You won't feel wronged in my sect. Another female expert didn't care about Su Fang's empty bag at all. How many longevity pure origin pills could a longevity realm cultivator take out? Today I'm weak, but in the future, my heart will be higher than the heavens. I have the courage to break through all dangers. Big shot, I also hope that Xuan's pavilion will treat my friends well. Swoosh. Su Fang used the ruler's divine steps and passed through the forest, disappearing at the other end of the canyon. The ruler's divine steps is one of the 7 great divine abilities of the Celestial Sealing School. Only immortal disciples can learn it. A few female experts recognized Su Fang's divine ability. That brat is really arrogant. Let me see how many so-called treasures are in that empty bag. What a joke! What treasures could there be? The 2 female experts who had protected Xiao Mei took the bag from her and activated it in front of everyone. Quite a few experts separated their divine senses and looked at the bag. Their divine senses slowly entered the bag. In the center floated 2 pill cauldrons. Around the cauldrons were several high-grade enchanted items. Around the high-grade enchanted items, there were also 3 different flowers. Undying flowers. Su Fang had obtained a total of 4 undying flowers. One of them had been condensed by a Devil Dao expert, and he had given the other 3 to Xiao Mei. Below the imperishable flower, there were pure yuan pills with astonishing longevity, immortality, and indestructibility, as well as all kinds of spirit stones. Even a peak immortal realm cultivator would find it difficult to possess such wealth. Just the 3 undying flowers, 2 pill cauldrons, and several high-grade enchanted items were things that only immortal realm experts had the qualifications to possess. Not to mention that there were so many pure origin pills. The surrounding female immortal realm disciples were shocked and envious. At the same time, they felt ashamed, as if they had been slapped in the face. They were also asking how a disciple at the first layer of the immortal realm could possess so many shocking treasures. Let's go. Disciple Wang's expression changed slightly. He raised his hand and a barrier enveloped everyone. They disappeared from the valley. Mayor, I will go find you. After passing through a large number of valleys, they entered a dense forest. Ahead of them was the heavenly gourd spirit tree. However, Su Fang was still thinking about Xiao Mei. He was clear about her situation. She was just a temporary disciple. If she had great strength, then today would have been a different ending. Fang Yu is back. Within the layers of forest, when Su Fang flew over, 2 experts appeared from the darkness. One of them led Su Fang into the depths of the forest, and he immediately saw a large number of Celestial Sealing Sect disciples. This time, Su Fang had shown his face. The disciples here no longer treated him as a minor character. Su Fang. Hua Daoying suddenly walked over. Su Fang had originally wanted to go see Qian Huanyun, but when he saw Hua Daoying walk over, he thought for a moment and cupped his fists. Greetings, senior apprentice brother Hua. Hua Daoying waved his hand and called Su Fang to a place where there was no one else. He said, I came to see you because of senior apprentice brother Xueqing. Could it be that? He had been on guard against Hua Daoying attacking him, but he hadn't expected it to be related to Xueqing. Your performance in the sect isn't bad. You're second on the mortal ranking. When you reach the high immortal heaven, you'll be a genius. Senior apprentice brother Xue thinks highly of you, so he directly gave you a spot to join the Crown Prince Society. Join the Crown Prince Society? That's an opportunity that other disciples can only dream of. Once you join the Crown Prince Society, no one in the sect will be able to oppose you. Furthermore, behind the Crown Prince Society is Prince Xue. There's no need to introduce him. Just senior apprentice brother Xueqing is about to reach the undead realm. The Crown Prince Society is extremely powerful within the Celestial Sealing Sect. I also joined the Crown Prince Society when I reached the Earth ranking. Now you also have a chance. I'll think about it. Do you even need to think about it? Hua Daoying had assumed that by offering the Crown Prince Society as bait, as well as a live from forever disciple, Su Fang would immediately agree. But he was wrong. Hua Daoying's eyes flickered with anger. Don't be so ungrateful. Not just anyone can join the Crown Prince Society. You're lucky to be given a spot. Since the bait had failed, he was now threatening. That was the true face of the Crown Prince Society. The sect forbids forming cliques for personal gain, Su Fang said. I'll think about it. Hua Daoying blurred into motion, leaving behind a trail of fury. By leaving, it meant that Su Fang had offended a true enemy in the Celestial Sealing Sect, the Crown Prince Society. Song Chongxing, Yan Qi, riding the sword, and all the other enemies of the Celestial Sealing Sect had never been true enemies to Su Fang. At most, they were a threat. But the Crown Prince Society was different. They were a huge crocodile in the Celestial Sealing Sect. Offending them was like offending a colossal monster. You could feign civility, King Greenfeather said. Just agree to join the Crown Prince Society. There are many types of people, Hua Daoying said. Su Fang wouldn't do something like that. If I join the Crown Prince Society, I'll offend the other two societies. I'll stay neutral. That's the best thing to do. I don't need to bow my head to them. Su Fang headed off in search of Qian Wanyan. In a different forest. How did it go, elder brother Hua? As soon as Hua Daoying arrived, Yan Chongluo and the other undying disciples surrounded him. If that bastard Fang Yu agreed to join the Crown Prince Society, how am I supposed to get my revenge? You'll have your chance, Hua Daoying said through gritted teeth. Fang Yu is a fool who doesn't know what's good for him. Yan Chongluo, attack him immediately. If he doesn't join the Crown Prince Society, then he's our enemy. In the past, I didn't think much of him. But now things are different. If he dares to look down on the Crown Prince Society, then it won't be just you. Heh. I'll go make the necessary arrangements. Yan Chongluo and the other undying disciples flew off. Hua Daoying went to the center of the forest, where a door appeared. When he entered, he saw Xue Qing sitting alone in the air. Senior brother Xue, you told me to recruit Fang Yu, but he doesn't care about the Crown Prince Society at all. He wants to join the other two societies. Hua Daoying clasped fists angrily. Xue Qing smiled coldly. He doesn't know what's good for him. Second place on the mortal ranking is a genius. He can join the Crown Prince Society. Since that's the case, he's either my friend or my enemy. I've already sent people to do that. Anyone who offends the Crown Prince Society will die. Senior brother, we'll definitely help you get the Spirit Gourd. If we get the Spirit Gourd, I'll take the credit. The sect will also give me a seed gourd that will help me break through to the imperishable realm. Xue Qing was completely confident. As long as I break through to the imperishable realm, I'll be a true member of the upper echelon of the sect of immortal sealing. At that time, it'll be easier for me to control you. We'll definitely join the Crown Prince Society. Hua Daoying seized this opportunity to flatter Xue Qing. It was as if he could already see a bright path waiting for him. Chapter 233. Su Fang and Qian Huanyun chatted for a while. After this matter, Qian Huanyun viewed Su Fang in a new light. Before this matter, Qian Huanyun was a proud and arrogant person who had cultivated in the high immortal heaven as an undying disciple. As for Su Fang, he had only just joined the sect. She had never imagined that Su Fang would be the one to save her. Su Fang even exchanged a few words with the Cheng Lang family's expert. The Ice Moon Paradise had already lost quite a few disciples in this fight for the Spirit Gourd. After that, Su Fang found an excuse to leave the Immortal Sealing Sect's stronghold. As soon as he stepped out, 3 other people followed behind him. Since I offended Hua Daoying, the Crown Prince faction won't let me off. And it seems Yan Chongluo is also a member of the Crown Prince faction. Perhaps the peerless lightning king Zhang Yunfei from Lightning Charge Mountain is also related to them. Su Fang had long since sensed several pairs of eyes staring at him. He didn't even need to ask to know they were from the Crown Prince faction. Then he confirmed it was Yan Changluo. Fine. He could use this opportunity to get rid of him and secretly contact Luan Mo. I have to find a place where I can kill Yan Changluo. That way, the Crown Prince faction won't be able to trace it back to me. After leaving the mountain range, Su Fang headed directly for the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. Arriving in front of the Spirit Tree, Su Fang entered another tree hole. Yan Changluo and the two undying experts also entered the tree hole after a few breaths. The interior of the tree was still filled with leaves. Su Fang sensed the presence of demon qi. It was definitely the tree demons. So he led Yan Changluo and the others to the area where the tree demons were hiding. We're almost there. Big brother Yan, this is a dangerous place. Once we kill Fang Yu, we can give his corpse to the tree demons. That way, it'll be the tree demons who killed him, and it won't have anything to do with us. The three experts chased after Long Chen. One of them suggested to Yan Changluo that they should hurry up and kill Su Fang. In truth, they wanted to split Su Fang's treasures after killing him. Swoosh! The three of them split up and formed an encirclement, wanting to trap Su Fang in this space of the spirit tree. Good. Tree demons, you'll have a good meal. Su Fang flew at a normal speed. There were a large number of tree demons hiding around him. Kill! Suddenly, a figure flew out from the front. So you're finally here. Su Fang controlled the flying sword and threw out a few sword qi at the surrounding vine leaves. Swish! Yan Changluo and the other two experts formed a triangular killing formation. They appeared at the same time and unleashed their killing moves. From the vine leaves on both sides, astonishing roots shot out, like the claws of a devil, attacking Su Fang and the others. Dao Dao's Yan Changluan's a dragon as Fang. Fang's a long Fang, your treasures, s as a s. Long twos to dies. Yan Changluo, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Su Fang released his spirit flame and burned the tree demon's tentacles to ashes. Haha, what are you waiting for me for? Are you going to tell me that you deliberately came here to wait for us to kill you? That's exactly what I meant. However, it's not you who's going to kill me, it's me who's going to kill you. Yan Changluo, to tell you the truth, Yan Qi was indeed killed by my friend Dao Wuliang. Don't take revenge on my friend. He doesn't even exist. If you want revenge, come find me. Then you're courting death. You're only at the first stage of the immortal realm. Even if you're someone who's stronger than you, your strength is only between the immortal realm and the immortal realm. As for me, I've already broken through to the 10th stage of the immortal realm. If I kill you, I'll become an immortal realm expert. Furthermore, your treasures are all mine. Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw. Yan Changluo roared. He couldn't stand Su Fang's confident expression. His hands clawed out, and two 30-meter-long golden claws condensed in the air. It felt like a real dragon's claw. This was the strength of a peak immortal realm expert. Heavenly Devil Disintegration Seal. In the face of an attack that was much stronger than him, Su Fang only had two choices: escape or take out a treasure to resist. However, Su Fang chose to use a great magical power of the Devil Path. It was the Devil Disintegration Seal from the Heavenly Devil Book. This was a strange magical power that attacked the soul and primordial spirit. It was impossible to guard against it. The golden core that sealed the Devil Qi appeared in Su Fang's dantian. After activating it, Su Fang's body exploded with an astonishing amount of Devil Qi. Su Fang's body began to rise with an astonishing amount of Devil Qi. Devil Path Power. Yan Changluo was so scared that he didn't know what to say. Buzz, the burning devil flame, with Su Fang's head as the center of gravity, suddenly gushed out like a dark cloud of devil flame, like a waterfall, rolling towards Yen Chongluo. "I'll crush you." Yen Chongluo actually grabbed a big saber, and it was a high-grade magical weapon. Together with the heavenly dragon divine claw, a big claw print grabbed the divine saber, and an astonishing saber light burst out. The claw print controlled the saber light to slash at the surging black devil flame. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the power of the fusion of a magical weapon and a magical power was indeed terrifying. It split the black devil flame from the devil disintegration seal into pieces, but it couldn't completely crush the black devil flame. After Su Fang released more devil chi, the black devil flame began to fuse again, and the crackling black devil flame burned the black devil flame. Yen Chongluo pushed his strength to the extreme, waving his saber, and together with the heavenly dragon divine claw, a saber light once again split and shattered the black devil flame. "Luan Mo, kill the other two disciples first. Although I can't kill Yen Chongluo, I can use a magical power to trap him. He can't hurt me for the time being." Su Fang secretly transmitted his divine will. "Unfortunately, Fang Yu, you're really a genius. No wonder you could cause such a stir in the 100-year trials, and now you're second on the mortal ranking list. If your cultivation had reached the undead realm, I wouldn't have been able to kill you today, but you're just a longevity realm cultivator. Even with the devil path power, you won't be able to last long." The saber light fell with a whoosh. Like a giant splitting firewood, it split the black devil flame again and again with great force. Although Yen Chongluo was afraid of the devil path power, he knew that the gap between him and Su Fang was too big. He still had the advantage. Moreover, an undead 10th layer expert couldn't kill an immortal 1st layer ant? "Master!" Whoosh! A black-clothed man flashed from the side of the vine leaf, holding two heads in his hand. They were the two undead disciples who followed Yen Chongluo. Undead Realm Devil Path Expert. When Yen Chongluo saw Luan Mo and his aura, he was scared out of his wit. He grabbed his saber, turned around, and fled on his flying sword. Chi. Luan Mo was very powerful. After fusing with the blood of the true devil, he could fight against several peak undead realm experts. Yen Chongluo, an undead 10th layer expert, still wanted to escape. Devil flame flashed, and Luan Mo blocked Yen Chongluo's path. Yen Chongluo jumped in fright. Seeing his companion's bloody head, he hastily turned around, only to see Su Fang's black devil flame behind him. Yen Chongluo was like an ant on a hot pan. "Fang Yu, you vile spawn! You actually colluded with the devil path. If the sect finds out, you won't have a good death. Let me go, and I'll pretend none of this happened." "Let you go? Didn't you want to kill me before? If I really let you go, you'll immediately ask the Crown Prince faction for help and then come back to kill me, right? I can become sworn brothers with you. You and I are sworn brothers, so you can trust my sincerity." Sworn brothers? Hua Daoying and Lightning Charge Mountain's Zhang Yunfei are sworn brothers, but they really are brothers. Hua Daoying just wants to use him. Am I right? How do you know about Zhang Yunfei? Aren't you looking for the person who killed Zhang Yunfei? That person is right in front of you, but you're blind. It's impossible. You look different. Yen Chongluo was shocked. He looked over Su Fang once more. "Although we suspect it was a formation master who killed Zhang Yunfei, how could it be you? You were only at the Heavenly Union realm back then." "My cultivation base was higher than Zhang Yunfei's, but I wasn't a match for him. He had the Thundertooth blade. You couldn't kill Zhang Yunfei. That was why Yen Chongluo didn't believe it was Su Fang who had killed Zhang Yunfei. It seemed that the things that he could not do, Su Fang, a Heaven Union realm cultivator at that time, could not do it either." Su Fang nodded to Luan Mo. "That's the truth. Yen Chongluo, your good days have come to an end. You've always wanted to kill me. If Heavenly God Fu hadn't stopped you, you probably would have already killed me in the Immortal Sealing Sect." Heavenly God Fu Fong Yu, if I, Yen Chongluo, don't die this time, I'll use the Crown Prince Society's power to crush you. Die. Yen Chongluo suddenly ignited an astonishing flame of life. Brandishing his high-grade magical artifact saber, he charged towards Su Fong like an enraged lion, slashing out with his saber. Chi. Ignoring the black flames, Yen Chongluo directly charged forward. Only now did he realize how terrifying the Devil Path's power was. This power was tearing apart, stopping, and suppressing his consciousness and soul. It felt like he was suffering from a serious illness. He didn't have the slightest bit of vitality. Flame God Elephant. Even so, Yen Chongluo still had to kill his way out. He wasn't a match for Luan Mo. His only chance was to kill his way out of Su Fong. But he was wrong. His saber and the power of the undying 10th level forced back the black flames. Just as his saber was about to cut Su Fong in half, a flame suddenly shot out of Su Fong's eyes. Roar! The fire shadow shook the air and instantly transformed into a fire deity elephant. Clang! The saber struck the flame god elephant, but the flame god elephant wasn't a cold, enchanted artifact waiting for the saber to strike its body. Instead, it used its trunk to strike the saber. Green Fiend True Fire. The flame god elephant spoke. When its trunk blocked the saber, it opened its mouth to spit out true fire. When Yen Chongluo saw the true fire coming at him, he finally despaired. Green Fiend True Fire. It's a divine ability that even the undying 10th level disciples can't cultivate. Whoosh! The true fire struck Yen Chongluo, causing him to burn in the true fire. The fire god elephant kept spewing true fire, burning Yen Chongluo until he dropped the broadsword in his hand. He struggled helplessly like a mortal, screaming in pain. Devour! Luan Mo attacked. Yen Chongluo only flashed past, and his entire body turned into white bones. This was the power of a Devil Path powerhouse. Let's go. Killing an undying 10th level disciple was no small matter. Su Fong immediately sucked in the Green Fiend True Fire and the Flame God Elephant. At the same time, he flew out of this space with Luan Mo swish. Swish. Once the two of them left, the surrounding tree monsters mercilessly wrapped around Yen Chongluo's bones, as well as the corpses of the other two disciples, greedily snatching food. Whoosh! After a few breaths of time, a human figure flew slowly. It wasn't a physical body, but a divine consciousness. He arrived at the space where the tree monsters were eating alone. He looked down at the blood chi below. Strange! Green Fiend True Fire. It's the aura of the Green Fiend True Fire. The human figure actually felt the aura of the Green Fiend True Fire. Could it be that many people from the sect secretly came here to fight for the Spirit Gourd? A disciple who can control the Green Fiend True Fire cannot be an ant below the Undying Realm. The human figure was silent for a moment, as if he wanted to find more information. However, he didn't find anything in the end. He looked back and said, "My fellow disciples are here." The human figure turned into a shadow and disappeared into thin air. Chapter 234. At this moment, Hua Daoying's group of imperishable realm experts flew into the spirit tree's space. When they smelled the blood and saw the qi left behind by the battle, they knew that Yen Chongluo and the other two had died. Where's Fong Yu? Did the tree attack Yen Chongluo and the other two and kill him? Hua Daoying was still able to sense Yen Chongluo and the other two's qi. He was sure that they had died here. He knew that the three of them had come to kill Su Fong, but he didn't see Su Fong's corpse. A few meters away, in the space between the root. Luan Mo, you've done well again. Two figures flashed into the vine forest. Su Fong immediately turned into an unfamiliar face and looked at Luan Mo. With this person around, as long as it wasn't a peerless big goblin or an imperishable realm expert, no one would be his match in the heavenly gourd territory. This is what I should do. Master, the demon worship sect has sent many experts this time, as well as most of the Devil King continent's forces. Some of them are even imperishable realm experts. I heard that the 100 Demon sect rescued a peerless devil that was suppressed here, and the other devil sects around the Crimson Nimbus continent also came here to snatch the spirit gourd. The information you obtained is very important to me. Is there anything else? I heard that there are also experts from other worlds hiding in the heavenly gourd territory, waiting for the spirit gourd to appear. They want to snatch the spirit gourd and the spirit water. Those two treasures are unique to the Zhuotian world. The cultivators from other small worlds are all coveting those two treasures, but they won't succeed. This is the Zhuotian world. How could the forces of the Zhuotian world be willing to let outsiders snatch resources here? Last time, I ruined the deal between the Twin Immortal sect and the Supreme God sect. Did those two forces do anything? The Devil Path is also well aware of the matter of the righteous path surrounding and killing the Supreme God sect and the Dual Immortal sect. Most of the cultivators of the Dual Immortal sect and the Supreme God sect have already been killed, but there are still a few people who manage to escape. Master, speaking of this, I'm afraid you'll be watched by the Supreme God sect in the future, because now everyone knows it was you who informed the various large powers to destroy the strongholds of the Supreme God sect. What can the Supreme God sect do to me? Last time at the ruins of the Spirit sect, I had already shed all pretense of cordiality with the Supreme God sect. The Supreme God sect has long since become my enemy. The Supreme God sect's best method is to place a bounty on Master's head and put your name on the death-seeking list. Then they'll let other people kill Master, and all they have to do is take out pure yuan pills to get revenge. Master, don't be angry. In their eyes, Master is not a threat. Go back to the Demon Worship sect first. If the Demon Worship sect wants to obtain any great treasures, tell me in advance. I need to gather more treasures. Yes, this subordinate will take his leave. Luan Devil bowed, then transformed into a strand of devil flame that shot out of the dimension. I finally got rid of Yen Chongluo. Now, there are very few people in the House of Immortal Sealing who have a death grudge with me. The Qing clan doesn't count for much, but there's still Song Qi. After all, I crippled his arm. But that's not a death grudge. When the time comes, I can take the initiative to settle my grudge with Song Qi. Other than the people who want my treasures, the Crown Prince Society won't let me off the hook. Hua Daoying will definitely link Yen Chongluo's death to me. After a moment of thought, he flew out of the world of Root. After leaving the abyss of the Earth world, he flew over to the Heaven Gourd world. Along the way, he encountered a large number of cultivators. The appearance of the spirit gourd had attracted more than 10,000 cultivators. More than 10,000 cultivators had come from all over the heaven world. There were even cultivators from other worlds. After returning to the ground, Su Fong flew 100 miles away and found a forest. He cast a spirit formation and summoned the 13 flame crystal golems and the 35 slaves, and had them lie in ambush in the surroundings. Last time in the Spirit Sect ruins, I bought 4 pill furnaces. This time, I gave 2 to Mayer. With them, she'll be able to gain a foothold in the Zuanv Pavilion. Once the Spirit Gourd mission is over, I'll have to buy new pill furnaces. They can't be mid-grade, but high-grade. Only then can I refine Yang's strengthening pills. After finishing his preparations, Su Fong unleashed the 100 acupuncture points finger art. He unleashed the power of his Yang Meridian and Violet Qi magic spirit to break through to the second heaven stage of immortality. As it turned out, he had left the Heaven Gourd world in order to reach the second heaven stage of immortality. The immortality realm was very different. The life force in his body was like a majestic river, surging in his body. The lifespan of a immortality realm cultivator had easily exceeded 1,000 years. It was easy for them to live for more than 1,000 years. With all kinds of resources, a few thousand years was not a problem. The divine image Jade Annulus, one is with me, one is with the Green Lotus Sword sect in the Wutan world, and the other is most likely in some corner of the heaven world or in the hands of some cultivator. This is a Tao artifact. When will the opportunity come to me? Breaking through to the second heaven stage of immortality was not something that could be completed in a few days. During the process, Su Fang's spiritual will was also paying attention to the other aspects of his body. Dharma treasures. Su Fang first thought of the divine image Jade Annulus. Looking at it carefully, he really couldn't tell that it was a Tao artifact. A Tao artifact that surpassed the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda had once allowed the spirit sect to gain a foothold in the heaven world for countless years, but in the end it was still destroyed by the Green Lotus Sword sect. This Tao artifact was the king of magic treasures in a minor world. If he could obtain the other two jade pendants, he could restore this Tao artifact. Just where is the third jade pendant? Su Fang really wanted to obtain a Tao artifact. "Kid, aren't you extremely daring?" asked the Green Feather King suddenly. "Even if I'm daring, it depends on the conditions. As long as you obtain the majority of a peerless treasure, you'll be able to sense the location of the final portion. If you have the ability, go directly to the Wutan world and take the divine image Jade Annulus from the Green Lotus Sword sect. That way you'll be able to sense the third jade. Senior, no matter how courageous I am, I wouldn't dare have any ideas about the Green Lotus Sword sect. Since the Green Lotus Sword sect can destroy the powerful Spirit sect, I'm afraid their strength is already above the Immortal Sealing sect. Only the Green Feather King could come up with such an idea. Although Su Fang's actions were always different from others, there was still a limit. For a peerless big goblin like the Green Feather King, there were only things he didn't dare to do. There was nothing he didn't dare to scheme. The Green Lotus Sword sect is naturally stronger than the Immortal Sealing sect. However, the Immortal Sealing sect still has some foundation. I reckon the Green Lotus Sword sect is in existence connected to a major world. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to dominate a minor world. If you have the guts, go take the divine image Jade Annulus from the Green Lotus Sword sect, laughed the Green Feather King. Su Fang ignored him. Was this a joke? The divine image Jade Annulus is a Tao item. But I don't have the ability to get it. I already have powerful magic treasures, as well as the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Even if I can't get the divine image Jade Annulus, it doesn't matter. Furthermore, Junior is after something else. The divine image Jade Annulus is second. Oh! The Green Feather King was also curious about what Su Fang was planning. Fragment of the human emperor's bright wheel. Su Fang smiled, and his eyes were full of passion. Isn't any magic weapon not worth mentioning when compared with a world? This king really underestimated you. He said you were too cowardly and wouldn't dare take the Green Lotus Sword sect's divine image Jade Annulus. So your goal is the human emperor world. The human emperor's bright wheel is a Tao item, but compared to the human emperor's bright wheel, it's really nothing. The human emperor's bright wheel is also a Tao item. It's an enchanted item used to open and fuse with the human emperor's bright wheel. Right now, countless minor worlds have fragments of the human emperor's bright wheel. Once all the fragments appear, the experts of countless minor worlds will all go to the human emperor's bright wheel. Once it recovers, they'll all fight over it. Senior, when I'm stronger in the future, I'll begin to unlock the 10,000 deities seal in your body and take out the fragments of the human emperor's bright wheel. Then I'll go to the vast minor worlds to find the other fragment. No problem. This king doesn't want the human emperor's bright wheel fragment. As long as it's in this king's body, it's a ticking time bomb. If you want it, this king will give it to you. The Green Feather King was very generous. The fragment of the human emperor's bright wheel wasn't his to begin with. Chi. A burst of energy suddenly surged in his yang meridian and purple chi dharma spirit space. His divine sense returned to its original position, and he used the 100 acupoints finger art for the last big impact. Pung! Finally, the breakthrough was complete. The final wave of power began to sweep through his body. Su Fang guided this power to attack the first yang meridian, the second yang meridian that was forming, the purple chi dharma spirit, and the divine aperture. The energy outside Su Fang's body was divided into 2 layers. This meant that Su Fang had entered the second layer of the immortal realm at this moment. The impurities in the placenta surged out from his pores and seeped into his Taoist robe. Soon, they formed particles. Magic power and spiritual power fused, actively absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It fused with the flesh fetus divine armor, forming a sturdy divine armor fused with the indestructible golden body. The breakthrough process had nothing to do with his dantian. The promotion force and natural spiritual energy of his body automatically formed 3 energy spaces with the divine aperture, purple chi dharma spirit, and yang meridian as the main energy space. White smoke seeped out from the top of his head, and the skin on the surface of his body was slightly dry. This scene was like a big snake shedding its skin. It lasted for half a month. After the promotion, Su Fang swallowed a lot of energy. He also used the human blood goo to absorb some undead realm cultivator's undead blood essence to complement his physical cultivation. The pure yang energy was burning, driving the vitality in his body to surge endlessly. I feel that the second yang meridian seems to have the aura of great success. If the second yang meridian is successfully condensed, my strength will double, and I can fuse twice as much pure yang energy. The main cultivation was the 9 yang 9 transformations and the second yang meridian. The illusory fire cloud, the heavenly demon book, and the celestial sealing gate were all mainly used to assist cultivation. They all used yang energy as the core, and would be fused by Su Fang in the end. From today onwards, I'll use another identity to search for treasures in the heavenly gourd domain. I can try my luck with the spiritual gourd, but I'm very confident with the spiritual water of the domain. With the help of the Luan Mo, I can suppress the demon worship sect and other demon path experts. I can also get more demon slaves, especially undead realm slaves, who can help me refine undead realm aphrodisiac pills. Refining pills had to be done quickly. If he had more pills, he could sell them and exchange them for all kinds of resources he wanted. Whoosh! 1 month later, Su Fang called back all the slaves and fire crystal people. After fusing with the fire cloud spiritual gourd for a while, the sword chi primordial spirit inside was no longer as afraid of Su Fang as before. He left the surface and returned to the heavenly gourd domain. When he returned to the underground world, he saw many cultivators. There were cultivators from all walks of life, and those he saw were all immortal and undead cultivators. There were even some heavenly fusion cultivators. Brother, do you have any pure essence pills? I'm injured and need pure essence pills to cultivate. I can buy them at a higher price than the market price. Su Fang was about to fly to the heavenly gourd spirit tree when a few cultivators stopped him. Chapter 235. He stared at these people. They were all undying cultivators and could be considered strong here. Injured? Su Fang had a perfect physical body. With such a foundation, he could more or less sense the aura of a cultivator's body when he stepped into cultivation. He found that the other party was not injured at all. Su Fang rejected them. After they left, he deliberately released his ability to listen to what they said after they left. There are more and more cultivators coming from the Tianhu domain, and the number of injured people is increasing day by day. Now, the pure essence pill is a hot commodity. How can we have the luck to get the spirit gourd? We should take the opportunity to resell the pure essence pills and make a small profit. Yes, but it's a pity that the Tianhu domain is a barren land. Takes almost 2 months to go out and buy the pills back. If we go back and forth, we might miss the birth of the spirit gourd. By the time we get the pills, the cultivators will have left. Before the birth of the spirit gourd, the demand for pure essence pills is astonishing. Once it's over, we can only leave. They discussed in private, but the content of their conversation could not escape Su Fang's ears. I'm thinking of a way to sell the impotence pill. It seems that the birth of the spirit gourd gives me a platform to sell the impotence pill first. Su Fang was not in a hurry to seize the spirit gourd. In fact, he was not confident that he could get that kind of peerless treasure. Rather than that, he might as well sell the impotence pill in his hand first. Please wait a moment. Su Fang caught up and stopped them, saying that he had a kind of impotence pill that his friend had just refined. It could increase yang qi and assist in the recovery of life energy. They were very doubtful because no one had ever heard of the impotence pill. Su Fang sold some to the cultivators at half the price of the pure essence pill. Then, he took the initiative to trade with the injured cultivators. Most of the cultivators were very cautious. One person would buy at most dozens of pills or even a few. They had to test the medicinal power of the pills first. After trading with almost 1,000 people, Su Fang waited for business to come. He was very confident in the medicinal power of the impotence pill. A few days later, as expected, the returning customers came back wave after wave. This time, it wasn't a transaction of a few pills. It was a transaction of hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of pills. In just 1 or 2 days, Su Fang had sold 100,000 impotence pills. During these days, more and more cultivators knew about the impotence pills. After all, cultivators who came to the Tiangord boundary rarely came alone. They either came with friends or had power. 1 spread to 10, 10 spread to 100, and the aphrodisiac pill became famous all of a sudden. Fortunately, in the past 2 years, I've had the 4 commanders work with their servants to refine hundreds of thousands of immortality-enhancing pills. That's enough to sell. I need to get the Luan devil to capture some imperishable slave. With imperishable slaves, I can get them to refine imperishable quality aphrodisiac pills. Business was good, and there was a fixed amount of transactions every day. During this period, Su Fang also kept a close eye on the cultivators who bought the elixirs and inquired about the situation in the Earth Realm's abyss. Currently, there was no news about the birth of the spirit gourd. You're the one selling the aphrodisiac pill? On this day, 2 people suddenly came. They looked like ordinary undying cultivators, but Su Fang sensed traces of demonic aura from their auras. Demonic cultivators. Seeing that the demonic cultivators had suffered heavy losses in the Tiangord boundary, the 2 of them bought 10,000 immortality-enhancing pills from Su Fang and left quietly. Sir, do you still have more immortality-enhancing pills? During this period, a few more people came to buy elixirs. At this moment, just as a transaction was completed, a young man suddenly came to Su Fang. When Su Fang heard the voice, he felt that it was familiar. When he looked up, his breathing stopped abruptly. Yun Fuxin. In front of him was a young man wearing an ordinary blue robe. He looked ordinary, and he did not have a token that represented a large power. However, Su Fang recognized this person's appearance as Yun Fuxin, who he had met once during the 100-year trial. This person was also famous on the Life Snatcher list. He actually dared to come to the Tiangord boundary. Was he not afraid that the experts on the Life Snatcher list would discover him and attack him? Could it be that his desolate body allowed him to have life-saving means? Yun Fuxin naturally did not recognize Su Fang. He was a new and unfamiliar face. In short, Yun Fuxin is the most important person in Immortal Sealing Sect. His position is the same as that of a venerable Tao disciple, surpassing Yen Kaifeng and the others. His cultivation base is also breaking through very fast. When you saw him last time, he should be at the peak of longevity realm. Now, he's at undying 5th layer. In the past few decades, he has advanced several layers. Compared to you, he's not much worse. I'm afraid there aren't many people like him in Immortal Sealing Sect. How many years had passed since the 100-year trial? Yun Fuxin had actually entered the 5th layer of the Undying Realm from the peak of the Longevity Realm. What kind of speed was this? This was the Undying Realm, not the Heavenly Union Realm. This was the terror of the desolate body. Su Fang felt a chill down his spine. He glanced at Yun Fuxin, calmed down, and smiled faintly. I still have some immortality-enhancing pills. How many do you want? 10,000. Yun Fuxin stretched out a finger. Su Fang formed a seal and took out an empty pouch, handing it to Yun Fuxin. After Yun Fuxin counted, he also took out an empty pouch. Your immortality-enhancing pills are not bad. They are on par with pure origin pills. In fact, they are even more extraordinary. Especially in terms of yang qi, they are a grade higher than pure origin pills. Only by selling them in those big cities will you be able to open up a market. I am also planning this. Thank you for the reminder. Su Fang cupped his fists. It is rare to encounter such extraordinary and special pills. It is best if they are not buried. Yun Fuxin nodded and left. An interesting person. Next, Su Fang met many disciples from the Celestial Sealing Sect, as well as the Ziwei Star Sect. The spirit gourd should be born soon. Just now, someone saw some spirit water vapor seeping out from a dried spirit spring in the abyss of the Earth realm. Is that so? The spirit gourd is about to be born. Suddenly, the cultivators resting in the surroundings began to spread the news that the spirit gourd was about to be born. Su Fang sold out the last of his immortality-enhancing pills and immediately followed the crowd to the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. When he arrived at the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree, he found that there were some changes to it. Some of its leaves were emitting shocking spiritual qi, and some people even went to pluck those leaves. Little fellow, the spirit gourd might be born within the next 10 days. During this time, the Earth realm's spirit water will come from those valleys, forests, and spirit spring rivers. This is the best time to gather the Earth realm's spirit water, said the Green Feather King. The Green Feather King had once come here to snatch the spirit gourd, so he definitely knew some secrets that others did not. So the Earth realm's spirit water would come out first before the spirit gourd would slowly be born. After confirming this, Su Fang stepped onto his flying sword and followed the crowd into the abyss of the Earth realm. At this time, a large number of cultivators were entering the abyss. It was just like mortals going to the market during the new year. There were at least tens of thousands of cultivators flying. Most of them were from small powers or rogue cultivators. Of course, there were also some people who were hiding their strength and identity. In the abyss of the Earth realm, the crowd of cultivators began to fly in different directions. There were many valleys and forests in the abyss that had spirit spring rivers. This king knows of an extremely ancient spirit spring river. The Green Feather King once more pointed the way for Su Fang. He flew away from the crowd, passing through many forests and valleys to arrive at the vast world behind the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. And in some places, he could clearly see the roots of the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. After passing through mountain ranges and valleys, wherever there were roots of the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree, there would be spirit spring rivers. He entered a huge mountain range. There were some cultivators in the surroundings that were secretly searching for spirit spring rivers. Under the Green Feather King's guidance, Su Fang found a natural moat deep in the mountains. He immediately saw an incomparably sturdy root of the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. After 10,000 years, the marks on this root have already healed. Little fellow, open up a large hole in the root. In a bit, you'll see the Earth Realm's spirit water form. The Green Feather King gave him a few more important points. Su Fang opened up a hole in the root and then retreated. He took out a jade bottle and waited. After waiting for about half a day, a shocking fog suddenly formed at the entrance of the tree root cave. The fog then turned into moisture and absorbed even more moisture from the depths of the natural moat and the ground that grew on top of the tree root. It's almost ready. The Green Feather King seemed even more anxious than Su Fang. After a while, a finger-thick strand of spirit water began to flow out of the thick moisture. Earth Realm's spirit water activating the jade bottle, a powerful suction force came out, and the remaining spirit water was sucked into the jade bottle. Senior, this Earth Realm's spirit water is good stuff. Let alone refining pills, just smelling it makes me feel refreshed. The Earth Realm's spirit water doesn't necessarily have to be used to refine pills or nurture spirit gourd. Su Fang examined the Earth Realm's spirit water and made a shocking discovery. Of course, it's most useful to the monster race. It can be used to cleanse their marrow, ascend to a human form, or pass a great tribulation. The monster race's cultivation is different from the human race's. They need to undergo transformation time and time again. Each transformation requires a huge amount of precious resources. The Devil Path and human cultivators often use it to refine pills. As for the large powers, they mainly use it to nurture spirit gourds. With the Earth Realm's spirit water, they can nurture a large number of spirit gourds like the Flamecloud spirit gourd, replied the Green Feather King. Oh, why is there so little spirit water? At this time, the spirit water had turned into drops. The Earth Realm's spirit water isn't always available. Sometimes there's a lot, sometimes there's a little. It's probably because the Heavenly Gourd spirit tree needs to gather energy. Don't worry, just wait patiently. The Green Feather King indicated that there was no need to rush. Whoosh! Suddenly, Su Fang heard something in his ear. He immediately dodged back and saw an explosion on the cliff to his right. Then a big goblin with blood-red eyes and a hooked nose appeared. The big goblin looked at Su Fang like he was a piece of fat meat. A human got here first. The Green Feather King coldly shouted, "Suppress him and make him a junior commander. His strength isn't bad. He can't compare to the Leech King, but he's much stronger than the Flying Tiger King and the other junior commanders." The hooked-nosed big goblin waved its arms and forcibly removed a 30-meter boulder from the cliff. Using its demonic chi, it smashed toward Su Fang. Primordial Chaos Sage. Using his fire cloud wings, Su Fang leaped and dodged the boulder. As for the greater demon, it spewed out demonic chi and stepped on it, spitting out a terrifying lightning attack towards Su Fang. However, Su Fang only released a scarlet mirror. The big goblin didn't take Su Fang seriously. Even if there were 10,000 first-level Immortal Realm cultivators, they wouldn't be his match. However, the big goblin only flew a few meters before it was covered by the red light emitted by the Primordial Chaos Sage. It was arrogant 1 second, but it became a coward the next. Behave. From today onwards, you'll be my junior commander. If you don't listen to my orders, I'll kill you alive. The big goblin activated a seal, and the shadow of a pagoda flashed. The big goblin was sucked into the pagoda door. The moment it entered, the big goblin's eyes were filled with helplessness. It seemed that it couldn't understand why, with its strength, it was suppressed by a human as soon as it came out. Chapter 236. Not only had he obtained the Earth Realm spirit water, but he had also suppressed a big goblin. Now, Su Fang had 6 junior commanders in his hand. Only 6 junior commanders. One layer of the Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda could hold 100,000 junior commanders. Buzz! The roots of the spirit tree suddenly shook along with the ground. The commotion this time was too great. It seemed that a large amount of Earth Realm spirit water was about to be born. Activating the jade bottle, the sound of a water tap gushing could be heard. Following which, fist-sized amounts of Earth Realm spirit water gushed out from the damp air. Too shocking. The spirit gourd's commotion this time is too shocking. Maybe there will be 5 or more spirit gourds. In the past, there would only be 3 spirit gourd. Brat, this is a huge opportunity. With so many spirit gourds appearing, even if you obtain one, you can go to the outside world and use the spirit gourd. It is a spiritual treasure of heaven and earth. It can evolve without limit. Green Feather King really wanted to leave the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda. Whoosh. Su Fang was still thinking that this opportunity was really on his side. He was guarding a spirit spring by himself. Who would have thought that 10 cultivators would suddenly fly over? They had all hidden their identities. They were all undying or imperishable realm existences. According to the map, there really is a spirit spring here. Someone got here first. There's only one person. Kill him. One of the imperishable realm experts stared at Su Fang. There was only one word in his eyes. Kill. So many experts. Su Fang thought about it and immediately dodged. The Earth Realm spirit water fell like rain to the bottom of the moat. He immediately activated the black-yellow Six Paths Pagoda as soon as he entered the humid layer. Master! Other than the Leech King and the Big Goblin, 5 junior commanders appeared beside Su Fang. Your strength is close to the imperishable realm. I will set up the 8 Origin Soul Elephant formation. You can lure those experts into the formation. I will suppress them one by one. How could one person fight with so many experts for the Earth Realm spirit water? If they only had formations, even the 5 junior commanders wouldn't be able to deal with so many experts. After all, there were quite a few immortal powerhouses. The 5 junior commanders obeyed the order and charged into the damp air. They clashed with the experts who were chasing after them, causing them to retreat in fear. They did not expect the Big Goblin to be here. After the hand seals were formed, the 8 fire crystal stone men flew out, and the fire god elephant appeared as well. Then, a large number of formation runes appeared. Under the explosive power of Su Fang's hand seals, the runes exploded one after another, forming a formation enchantment.